Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Women's Invitational Tournaments. No less than two of them going on at once at the Mind Sports Centre in London. Hello, Matthew.
Hey, Natasha. Good to be here.
So we're going to be following both tournaments. So the English Chess Federation Women's Invitational and also the She Plays to Win Women's International. In both of them, players are playing for norms, so WIM norms they're going for. We're going to start off with two players that are both doing very well in the ECF Invitational, which is Lanyao against Audrey Koo. And Lanyao, I think, has
6.5. I think she'd won the tournament already. I think, or
yes, yeah. So she's already played. She's won every single game except for one draw, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she already, though, is a WIM already, so that it won't help her for norm, but it's very nice to be on such a score. And Audrey is not a WIM already, and she is. I'm looking in two places at once. She
was on 5, wasn't she? I think, but
5.
5.5.
5.5 out of 8. So Lanyao's on 7 out of 8. Okay, so Lanyao, out of 8. They've drawn already. They've had a draw already.
Oh, good Lord.
I was thinking.
Well, I'm glad we caught it whilst it lasted.
Yeah, so this is already a draw. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So this means Lanyao's bound to win the tournament, and Audrey, I'm guessing, will need to win her last game for the norm. That's slightly a guess, but
okay, that's. I mean, in principle, Black against the runaway leader, getting a draw there is I think probably good tournament. Technique, basically. I think you'd say. Oh, this one, we've seen this opening so many times.
Yeah, let's see it. I mean, this is Camel against Sarah. Now, my money before looking at this was that they would agree a draw fairly soon, before the start. Not before the start. After they'd have a fairly quick game. But if they're going for this stuff, then who's to know? Then this isn't what you'd do for a quick draw, is it?
No, so it's the main line of the 4 knights and bishop b5 check. And I'm sure you remember, Natasha, we commentated on the amazing game of Freddie Gordon, the English, the Scottish prodigy against Mike Adams at the British Online Championships, and it was this line exactly.
Yeah.
So c6 takes. Bishop d3.
And Sarah's already had the game in this tournament.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, and Canwell, I know, is a regular player of the 2 knights.
So bishop d6 is a slight deviation, because knight f4 was what we saw in the game Freddie Gordon against Mickey, and actually also that was following a Stockfish Alpha 0 game that was which we had in Game Changer. So that was why it was so exciting. But Mickey did very, very well with that. But bishop d6, we have also seen another game of that in another event that we commentated, and that actually turned out quite well for Black as well. So this is very aggressive play from Sarah.
Yeah, and I thought going towards the end, I know Sarah and Camwell are really great friends. I thought maybe at the end of this tournament they would have a quick draw, but I think with this opening, then it looks like they're going to play. This looks like it could turn into a great match. So let's
yeah, I mean, the funny thing is about this position is that obviously White's got a great pawn structure compared to Black's. No weak pawns, and that Black knight on a5 is a little bit of a problematic piece in some ways. But I suppose the big thing really is that the bishop on d3 is blocking any development from White. So White's going to need a few moves to get herself developed. And I mean, for example, moves like bishop g4 from Black are actually rather awkward, because you put a bishop on g4, and how do you break that pin? If you go bishop e2, you get knight f4. So it's there's a lot of activity for Black here, and I suppose one of Black's main ideas is to bring that knight a5 back into play with c5 and knight c6, clamp down on the center, and Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have very mixed feelings about this. I mean, I think my feeling really is that this, in principle, white should be doing quite nicely somehow, but just the activity is very hard to deal with. And Mark Hebden has played this a lot with black. You know, these types of positions, and yeah, and obviously, you know, Mickey plays.
You give up a pawn, don't you? And you put your knight on the edge. But yeah, I've played this stuff for black as well. But if you can get the knight back in and you've got that bishop, you've got bishops and you've got things aiming at the king, it's still quite fun.
Exactly. I'm just pouring myself my chess player's can of Coke. I only drink Coca-Cola when I'm looking at chess or playing chess. So now
Hi
I'm
there,
powered up.
Hi, Waterford Wizard. Tell me, so Waterford Wizard, Zoe's just told you about this morning. What happened this morning? So I know she was playing in this tournament, and I was watching some of Danny and Ray Lynn's commentary, which was very nice. Yes, and I think Zoe was doing well, wasn't she? I didn't actually see the end of the game. Okay, Camel's gone rook
E1. Yeah, so I mean, you've got several things. You could try bishop g4, or you can play f5. Wow, yeah. This is super aggressive.
Yeah.
So you're giving up that pawn on e5, but yeah, that knight again having the bishop on d3. It means you can't actually. Hey, Relin. Means you can't actually maintain a knight on e5 really. So because you can't play d4. So yeah, you can take that extra pawn, but it's going to open lines. I have to say, I'm not really super up to date with this opening theory, but I've actually never seen f5 before. So wow. This is interesting.
So what if Camel just knight takes e5 here?
Well, that is a good question.
Gotta wonder.
I'm trying to work out what to do. I mean, Queen c7 is one idea. And then just hitting the knight and maybe forcing it back to f3. Queen f6 would be another idea. Attacking the knight again, forcing it back, and having the queen active. I mean, just the one that appeals to me the most is to go queen f6 after knight takes e5, and if knight f3, then I go g5. That's the one that knight goes back to f3.
G5 as well. It's crazy. It's all crazy.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I don't know. It looks quite dangerous to me actually.
Yeah.
F5. This must be no. Now I must be.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Must be opening theory, but yeah. I just always focus on the 9 knight f4 line because that's how AlphaZero played it as black.
Yeah.
So somehow never really looked at this one very much. But yeah, interesting stuff. Wow.
Okay, fine. So let's look at here's Sheila.
Sheila against Salomea. Now, Salomea, I don't actually know at all. From Lithuania, I guess, Salomea, or...
I guess so. It doesn't show as Lithuania on Just 24, but I think the name looks very Lithuanian to me.
It's so again Sheila, and we're just waiting for. It looks like you need to.
Yeah, no, I'm doing it.
Are you going through the moves? Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and this looks like a Sveshnikov, which is pretty sharp. It's amazing, really, isn't it? I mean, sort of 40 years ago, people looked at Timoshenko, who was actually kind of the first guy who played the Sveshnikov, but didn't get the name somehow against Sveshnikov. Everyone thought these guys, from this remote region of Russia were completely crazy, but now it's just the main line, and everyone looks at double pawns, weaknesses, everything, and doesn't care at all.
The funny thing is, though, I thought, I could be really out of date, I thought Sheila played the C3 Sicilian.
Mm-hmm.
But she's played open Sicilian.
You're right. She's... I've got this association of Sheila with the C3 Sicilian as well. So
she probably plays lots of things, I guess. Yeah.
Right. Let's move on a bit. Let's have a look how it went. Because this is all main theory, of course. This is the idea for white. You force this enormous hole on d5, but yeah, you've got dynamic chances. I mean, especially after this move b5, this next move, you're really these knights. Well, the knight on a3 is kept out of play.
Yeah.
So you've given up the d5 square, but the knight on a3 is out of play. So yeah, and
so Sheila takes off straight away and gets the knight in on d5.
Okay, yeah, that's yeah. I mean, that's you can also play knight d5 as well, but then bishop e7 is played. Bishop f6, bishop f6. That's another main line. Bishop g7, bishop d3.
Waterford Wizard has been following your career, Matthew.
My goodness me, that's it's had ups and downs then. But this is I mean, there's theory up to move 40 in these lines, so we'll see which line Sheila is going to play.
Do you in general drop the knight back again? Because
in general, a common line is to take on e7, and then you try and play c3 knight and get that knight on a3 round to c2 e3 or b4. So take and then bring your knight to play c3, and then bring your knight round here to e3.
Like that.
To be honest, I've found these positions very, very difficult for both sides. Actually, I've never been very keen on playing them. I mean, I'm a Najdorf player, a Sicilian Najdorf player, so I'm used to having a square on d5, a weak square on d5. But it's I don't know, it's slightly different. You just can't compare it, although I can't really explain why. But and with white, I've played it, but I've never felt comfortable. I beat Johnny Wilson. I'm sure you remember Johnny Wilson in the British in 1990 somewhere, in a Sveshnikov. But I do remember just never feeling comfortable at all about how the game went. The counterplay. I never really had a grip on whether I had a grip on the position or whether black was getting counterplay. But it's a bit sad, really, because often, positions that you can't play well as white, you should play as black. But when I turned it around, I didn't like it either. So it's one of those things. They're very difficult positions. But
I remember John Wilson. He was going out with a girl called Sarah, and he taught. She didn't play so much chess, but she was she was keen, but she was fairly new to chess. And he taught her this von Herring-Schara gambit.
Von Herring-Schara gambit, the Taras
and she
gambit.
knew all the theory of this von Herring-Schara gambit. She was getting all these wins off like really quite good players with the von Herring-Schara gambit.
I played it too as a tiny kid. That was a very good. That was my first published game. I was 9. I beat a strong junior, rated 144. ECF grades then, and I sent the game in to be published.
Yes.
Amazing memory. It wasn't a bad game, actually.
Okay, I'm going to see if this game. I don't see that we're getting moves in these two games, so we'll come back. We'll come back to these, unless they've finished already. It's possible.
Okay, so I think Kanwal's having a little think, isn't she, about that f5?
Okay, so we'll go on to the She Plays to Win International, and let's see from the start. So this is Carmen against Daria.
You're avoiding the second name, are you?
Yeah, just going for first names here. I could give it a go. Carmen Maar. There you go.
And Daria van Duifhuis, I'm guessing.
Duifhuis. Is that a Dutch? She's Belgian.
She's Belgian, yeah. Belgian. But it's sort of Flemish name.
Yeah.
A Duif. That's a.
Hi, Florian.
A dove of the Dove's house. That's what her name means. So very nice name.
Lovely, Daria of the Dove's house.
Oh, I see. There's some very nice names like that when you translate them. In some names, are quite normal in some languages, and they sound very exotic in others. Yeah. And this is
So does Maar mean? Is that to do with the sea?
I don't know where is Carmen from.
Let's have a look on.
It does sound like the sea, doesn't it? That must be. That does sound like it.
I do have this other thing open.
Don't worry,
Slovenia.
Well, if there's any Slovenian people watching the chat, then you could tell us what Maar means. Sounds like it should be C, though. So let's have a look. We've had a lot of E4 openings in this tournament, which is very
Well, I like seeing a lot of e4 openings. Very nice. And queen takes.
Queen takes b4. Okay, I've played this a lot actually. I had an absolutely crazy game against a Dutch player, Etienne Gouderian, in Vacanze, my disastrous Vacanze, which is I sacked everything, and it was so beautiful, but it only led to a draw. It's of course, I thought I'd played it perfectly, seen everything, and alas, it was a draw. But when I checked it with an engine, it was it was more of a sort of a "you idiot" feeling afterwards, unfortunately. But it's not a bad line. I mean, it's a lot of interesting ideas. Bishop b5, bishop d7. Okay, and queen d3 now. Okay, that's. I was always taking on c6 actually in these positions, but queen d3 is quite reasonable too. It's probably going to transpose actually.
Yeah, a6.
So yeah, now what? I guess why it's going to take on c6. I mean, you might be able to go bishop c4, but it doesn't feel like a sensible thing to do, really.
Apluke was asking about the queen d2 and b3 line.
Oh, you mean that's with 2 knight c3 in actual fact. So I think you're talking about the line that Magnus Carlsen played. So knight c3, 2 knight c3, d6, d4 takes, knight c6, queen d2. Then you play b3, bishop b2. That's really strong, actually. I mean, it's a very serious line. Do you know the story, Natasha? It was so a Greek player thought it up. Just I think it was a Greek FM, maybe, or maybe IM actually, or maybe even GM. I'm not sure, but wasn't a well-known player anyway. But he thought up this idea, sent it to Magnus, and Magnus picked it up and won an absolutely great game against. I think it was against Wojciech, a really strong player, and actually now you're looking at books and they're sort of analyzing this line to in over hundreds of pages, but it was just this little moment of inspiration from someone. It was very nice story indeed.
So why did he send it to Magnus rather than playing it himself?
I don't know. It was, but it was, yeah. Well, maybe he just wanted somebody to make the most of that idea. To get
proper notice, yes, I suppose so. On the highest stage. Very good.
It's a really. Oh yeah, it was. I saw that. That's where I saw. I was desperately trying to remember. I saw it in Gawain Jones's recent book, The Coffee House Chess Repertoire.
Okay.
Which is I can thoroughly recommend, by the way, to everyone. So books by Gawain always very. Yeah, very, very professionally put together. Really. That Gawain's looked at all the lines and some very nice offbeat anti-Sicilian stuff. The stuff that Gawain, masters so well himself. So definitely worth looking at if you're keen on meeting the Sicilian but doing something not quite mainliney.
Yeah.
It's actually Gawain's sort of done two extremes really, because he does this book, which is a coffee house chess repertory, so offbeat lines, and then he's also done 2 volumes on the dragon as well. So it's kind of he's sort of covering all the bases.
Really, King's Indian, hasn't he? With loads.
He's also done King's. Yeah, he's done the chessable courses, I think, on King's Indian. So yeah, always really worth seeing. He's nice. He's a nice player with nice clean attacking style, which is and obviously the openings he plays reflects that. So bishop c. So White's got a couple of possibilities here, by the way.
Oh, sorry. Let's go back. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can either play c4 or you can play knight c3.
I'd go c4 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think why White played queen d3 this early, actually. I guess maybe playing queen d3. I mean, you do often bring your queen back to d3 in the normal lines.
C4. Yeah.
Okay. C4.
Like Morocco.
Yeah, I quite like the sort of Sicilian lines where you go knight c3 and then knight d4 and then bishop e3 castle queenside or bishop g5 castle queenside. I quite like them. But c4 is much more positional, So you're trying to set up this sort of Maroczy-bind structure.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. Sort of the active part of me sort of thinks, oh, I'd love to go b5 straight away and just say to White, well, you've tried to set up your structure, but you're too slow. So, but I don't know whether it's any good.
b5 here.
It's quite possible. It's quite possible.
Is it possible? But wouldn't you go knight here or something like that? Oh, then I suppose they take.
Yeah, I'll take on c4.
Take.
Yeah, and then I don't know whether bishop e4.
Well, you could even take there, couldn't you. Maybe
Well,
not.
B takes C4, knight C6. I take on D3. So
and then I take on D8.
yeah,
But
I
then
take it
there's
on.
this pawns being annoying, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you'll get it back, but I mean, probably the ending is fine for black like that.
So okay, so the other way. So here, takes.
Yeah, I don't know whether bishop takes C4 is legal. Probably not. I've got knight C6, but well, it's a little bit complicated. I'm not 100% sure. You could just go back to D7 with your bishop, and you know, and then you've got rid of that C4 pawn. I think that would be quite decent as well.
Yeah.
But it's just you know, it's a sort of move that you sort of say, well, you know, even if it's not the very best move or whatever, it's annoying black a little bit, annoying white a little bit, because you know, white wanted to set up that structure and you're interfering with it. And I like moves like that. You know, I mean, always looking at that right from the opening, really. But okay, well, we'll see what happens. Knight F6 plays. So I guess Knight C3 is going to happen, and we're going to get some sort of standard Maroczy bind. White will go Knight D4, F3, B3, sort of solidify everything, and then try and wait for a long time. I was never very keen on the black positions, to be honest. But I played these quite a lot. Well, you know, just unfortunately in my towards the end-ish of my professional career, then people stopped going in for the Najdorf and they started playing bishop b5 check, 3 bishop b5 check all the time. And,
we had a few of those this tournament as well.
Yeah, that really took the fun out of playing the Sicilian a little bit. It was tried all sorts of things, spent loads and loads of time analysing it, and got decent results, but never really felt the joy of the black of playing black in those circumstances.
So you switched to the French?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is it a French or is it? It's a Caro, isn't it? I think.
Sorry.
The next game of Zoe's.
No. You switched to the French.
Oh, switched to the French. Oh, yeah. When I started playing again, I switched to the French. But to be honest, I've changed most of the openings I played when I came back because I didn't want to. I don't know. Yeah, it felt like I was going to ruin my scores and everything. So I just thought, let's just start afresh and do something different. You know, that was. So this is the fantasy variation.
So this is a big game, I think, for the players involved. Probably both would really like to win this, unless they just go for a quick draw. Who knows? But it's Zoe Varney against Louise Head. Now Zoe, who is also horsey chess, has been playing a lot of chess in the last few weeks. So she's just back from the European individual as well. Came straight to play here. I think she didn't play the last round in the European to play in this tournament. So these two, I think Louise did start with more points, but now I think Zoe might be on half a point more than Louise after a win against the top seed this morning.
Ooh, okay. So fantasy variation against the Caro-Kann, the 3F3.
Yes.
So,
which Harriet used to play, didn't she? I don't know if she
you might be right.
I'm pretty sure she did. Yeah.
E6. So E6 is the main and most solid way of playing. So it am quite often to Frenches as well. Queen B6 is interesting. What was I doing in these lines? I can't remember. Bishop B4, maybe, I think. But Queen B6. Oh God, I can't remember.
Are you forgetting everything? That's not like
no. The thing is, you know,
it's too many puddings. You've been having too many puddings.
It's too many puddings.
Now you can't remember anything.
The thing is, with the pandemic, well, you know, I looked at a lot of chess during the pandemic, so you know, I really feel in chess, but you're not playing any games, you know, really. So you know, and online, of course, you just play. Well, any old rubbish, really, you know, when you're playing 3-minute or 1-minute games. So actually, you know, just in terms of the openings I used to play or opening knowledge that I really knew, I sort of lost it a little bit. I have to, when I start playing again, I'll really have to spend a couple of weeks just playing through my stuff just to remember. But Queen B6 is quite sensible, actually. I mean, you know, the F2, F3, the A7, G1 diagonal has been weakened. You know, black also white wants to put the bishop on E3, but black sort of teasing white a little bit there by attacking the pawn on B2. So, no, it's a decent idea, but Zoe does have a way to develop that bishop to e3, quite a well-known way. So, and that's what Zoe does, actually. So played a3. Knight d7 and bishop e3.
There we go.
So queen takes b2 allows knight a4. That's the typical trick. You see it in so many openings, actually. Poison pawn Sicilian is a very common one, but in a lot of Frenches as well, of course. The only thing about it is that, you know, if it's nice in a way, but if white goes queen d2, then queen takes b2 is possible. So sort of the follow-up after this is not 100% obvious, but maybe you'll just play b4 next. You know, that's quite a possible move, you know, just to clamp down.
Follows Russia. Okay.
But yeah, but this is shaping up quite nicely. So black played knight e7. Yeah, I guess black's going to go for a little g6 bishop g7 kind of thing, and try and play e5. I'm trying to think. I'm sure I had. Oh yeah, no, okay, yeah. It's this is if you go g6 bishop g7, it looks very much like a modern, and I had a game in a modern that looked very similar to this sometime. Won a nice game actually, but yeah, I mean, Weiss has got to think a little bit now about development. Obviously, you know, because
why is it called the fantasy Caro-Kann?
Well, because 3f3 is a little bit crazy, right? I mean, it's not your normal development; it's something slightly different. And I mean, there were some fantastic games between Ivanchuk, the great Ukrainian player, and Jabava. You know, just some bizarre, amazing games. There have been, and there are some lovely variations in it as well. Well worth looking. There's a great game by a player called Bezgodov who wrote a very nice book on it. So now, actually, I mean, one move I quite fancy here is to go h4.
Oh, really? H4 straight away like that?
Yeah, that's the kind of guy I am. The idea is basically that either, you know, black wants to go g6, or black wants to go, maybe knight g6 to develop. So getting your h pawn there already is not a bad idea. I mean, it starts getting interesting because after h4, you know, black might consider thinking, well, okay, you're playing a wing pawn move. Why don't I play e5 now?
Yeah.
You know, that's not impossible. It could get very sharp. I'm not 100% clear about, you know, how good that is. c5 could be another idea that black plays against a move like h4. But again, you know, black
e5
or c5 even.
You can't take because the bishop's on freeze. So
exactly.
And if you have queen d2, they're going to take on b2 probably. Yeah,
but you know, you can start thinking, because the center's getting opened, you could start thinking about, okay, well, I'll give away those pawns then and exploit the open center. I mean, another idea for white would be to play a move like b4, for example. It's not completely crazy. The idea is, I'm just clamping down on c5, and obviously I'm, you know, not going to have any problem with the b2 pawn. And the idea is, if you go a5, well, I might go b5, I might go knight a4 first. You know, I'm not sure about that. It's a bit weird, but it might be possible. I mean, other development ideas are bishop d3 and knight h3. You know, is pretty fairly sensible as well. But you know, you're always kind of delaying a little bit this pressure moment against b2. You know, what am I actually going to do about that?
JJH is asking, what about e5 for white, controlling the center? Let me just get rid of the other arrows.
Then we've got a little tactic. Then we've got, then after e5, we've got knight takes e5.
Ooh, solved by tactical means. Indeed. And you can't take back because of the bishop.
Yeah, and knight a4, I've got queen a5 check, so you don't actually. Yes. And yeah, you can take the line just a little bit further actually, because so knight a4, queen a5, I go bishop d2.
So hang on, there we're going there, and then knight a4.
Yeah, queen a5,
bishop d2.
Yeah, queen takes a4. Oh, and then
She
everything.
didn't play it anyway.
You're close to trapping the queen, but you're not succeeding. Put it that way. So e5, knight e5 really works. You can't make moves on the board, Natasha. You can't.
I can't. I don't know. I haven't tried it. This
Okay.
package is new to me, so I maybe I can.
Sure.
I'm sure I can actually. Let's just do it because then there's the live thing is just in this bottom corner. You can see the actual live. So let's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I can just go back. Let's do it then.
Yeah, that's right. Knight e5. Yeah, it's just a variation like that. Knight a4, queen a5, bishop d2, and it feels like the queen's trapped after b3. That's the thing. But of course, d4 is unprotected, so queen d4 is possible, and so you escape. So this move knight e5 really does work. That's the point.
Oh, it does work.
Yeah, knight e5 really does work. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yes, for black, but we can't play e5 yet.
Yeah. So Zoe's played a strange move. Slightly strange move. Not what I expected anyway. Bishop b2. I mean, it's fine. It's just I'd expect. Yeah, bishop d3, knight e2 is what I sort of expected, maybe, and or knight h3, h3. But bishop b2 is very flexible. It's not. I'm only surprised about it. It's not. I'm not criticizing it. It's just.
So Zoe might get the knight out that way, maybe.
That's gonna happen next. It's just I would have played knight h3 first. That's my and wondered about whether even to develop that bishop or maybe even to castle queenside sometime. But bishop e2 sort of feels like it's a kingside castling kind of move. But now I'd really say g6 from black looks pretty
knight
natural.
e2 followed by knight f3. An idea for Zoe. Not sure what you mean. Waterford.
But knight e2 straight away, possible.
But then why knight g3? Do you mean? Or
knight g3 maybe, yeah, or knight f4 maybe.
And knight
possible
f4
as well.
Yeah,
possible as well. It's just that after knight e2, I think we can take on b2 actually. I think even can we do that? I think so.
So here
knight e2 we could take on b2 here.
Okay.
Because after knight a4 you go queen b5.
Oh.
And knight ec3 you go queen a5.
This feels dangerous for black though.
Yeah, but if you get away with it, then those knights are looking really a bit silly on a4 and c3.
Yeah. Okay. So black gets away with this.
Black gets away with it, I think. I'm not missing anything silly, am I? No, I think that's fine.
Can we study endgames? We this time we're doing. We'll see if we get some endgames. We're quite likely to get some, but we're going to be focusing on the two women's tournaments at the moment, just for this stream.
So let's have a look. So bishop e2 has been played. Let's go back to that. So what has black got? I mean, possible moves. c5 is an idea always. e5 as well. So yeah, I mean, it depends how tricky.
You mean e5 for black?
Yeah, e5 for black. Yeah, depends how tricky you want to be really at an early stage. Obviously, black's played c6 and e6, so playing another c5 feels like a bit of a waste of time. But white's pieces are a little bit odd just at the moment. With a bishop on e3, bishop on e2, knight on g1, and also that pressure on b2 feels a little bit odd. If you want to play sensibly with black, just really calmly, then g6 is a pretty sensible idea, because the point is after g6, bishop g7, you'll definitely be threatening e5 soon. So if I go g6, knight h3, bishop g7, and if you were to go castles, then I could really consider playing e5 here. And there's a lot of pressure on that d4 pawn. And this looks really just like the modern game that I had that I was talking about before.
Yeah, you still can't take this thing, so you'd have to take on d5.
Well, if you take on d5, I'll take on d4. That's the idea.
So isn't this is really quite tricky then?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, it's tactically tricky, but I'm not sure because I'm just thinking aloud now. But after your move, e takes d5. I mean, if I take on d4, for example, straight away, you might have knight a4 here.
Right.
Because when I move my queen afterwards, you take on d4. So after knight a4, for example, queen a5, You go bishop d4 here.
Yeah.
And bishop d4, queen d4.
Yeah.
And castle. And defending. Although it's not 100% clear, because actually the pieces are a little bit awkward here. But, you know, that's... but, for example, instead of e takes d4, after e takes d5...
Yeah.
You could look at knight f5, which is also quite interesting.
Yeah, we'd have to drop back.
Maybe, and then you take on d4
with the knight.
With the maybe even with the pawn, because I've got knight e3 if you go, you know, something like g4. Again, this is really you know, sharp, but I'm not sure why black should be doing badly here. Feels quite decent. So there's some sharp stuff around that d4 pawn, basically, you know. Yeah, so I mean, I would say for black g6, you know, would be a very natural move, you know, and then let white worry a little bit how you're going to develop afterwards.
Yeah, JJ's take at e5. You cannot take the pawn by knight because the queen is hanging. Which is, I guess, in this line here. Maybe back.
I could go back, yeah, that's possible. I could go c5, for example, maybe. That'd be quite a nice move. Just you know, knight a4, I go queen d6. You know, that's that looks quite decent. It's a sharp old position. I mean, you know, it's not. I mean, here, for example, d6 might be an interesting idea. Who knows? But you know, yeah. I mean, I'd be happy with black. You know, put it that way. Oh, but Louise has played something a little bit more, solid, but a little bit passive, maybe.
Okay, so
it played knight g6
here.
And now Louise has played knight g6. I don't know whether if you click on the board, maybe it brings on the board below, whether it brings up the
okay.
I know. Yeah, there we are. Surely. She's played
Look, I mean, the board below is saying she has played knight g6. Yeah, but I don't see it appearing in my notation.
Yeah,
but that's
it is. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Here. It's here.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know whether you can promote that and make that a main variation, or. But don't worry about it.
There we go. No, I've done it.
There we are. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Cool. So knight g6 was it's okay, but I feel, you know, I quite like the dynamic possibilities you got from g6. So knight g6, you're going to be a little bit less active there. I mean, it does help, does support c6 to c5, of course, you know, and but the point is that, of course, you're unprotecting d5, so e takes d5 becomes easier. And of course, you don't have that lovely knight e7 to f5 attacking the bishop on e3, you know, which was, I thought was a nice tactical resource to have there. That knight on g6.
Now white Zoe might do this stuff.
That is a definite idea. That is definitely one. h4. h4 is definitely one idea. It's a little bit, again, slightly odd with a bishop on e2 in some way. Don't ask me why, but that's how it feels to me. But it might just be a good move. The only problem with h4 is that black might go h5. Well, two things actually. After h4, you might go h5, and then it's a bit tough to develop your knight to h3 because the h4 pawn hangs.
Yeah.
Or at least you've got to think about it. You know, I mean, it's possible you could sacrifice it, but you've got to think about it a little bit. The other thing about h4 is that black might go bishop d6. And just have a peek at the g3 square, which you know, also
because you still can't go e5, can you? Because
a bishop takes e5. Yeah. So that works, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it works.
Hi, Bagator.
Hey, Bagator. So let's have a look. So yeah, no, it's a little bit. I'm not sure, but there's things for h4. I mean, knight h3 feels like the most natural now. I mean, you've played the quiet move bishop e2, so knight h3 is a very natural follow-up now, you know, and castle kingside, and then afterwards you'll you know, you'll work out how to do it, because when you go when you castle kingside, when you go, for example, knight h3, bishop e7.
Sorry. Knight h3. I'm too busy reading Bagatelle. Bishop e7.
By the way, Bagator, isn't that some sort of Persian god with 2 heads? I thought that
Is
was.
it?
I seem to remember something about when I was reading about mythology that there's something like that. So castles.
Knight h3. Yes, JJ. Yes. Here we go. Castles.
Castles, for example, from Black. Then you can actually play the move Queen d2 now. You can actually do this one.
Right.
Because after Queen b2, I've got Rook fb1.
Ha 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 ha. Traps the queen.
So I mean that's why I was sort of quite keen to get in g6, bishop g7, and start threatening e5 before you get, because I think after Queen d2, then White's suddenly got quite a nice logical position, and can definitely claim a slight advantage. I think after that. Whereas with g6, bishop g7, it was a little bit more unclear whether White was going to be able to get her good structure, but without thinking really. I think you needed to come up with a couple of good extra moves there.
This makes sense now you say it, but I wonder if it will be tempting for Zoe to just push h4.
Yeah, no, I'm not against a good h4 push. I'm definitely as keen on those as any man or woman. But I would say that knight h3 fits.
It's better. The
fact that you've gone bishop e2, put it that way, I think that fits just normal development a lot better. If you're going to play h4, to be honest, I would have played it on move 8 earlier, and just and gone for it that way. But it doesn't mean that it's a bad move or anything. Just it's just getting quite random because both sides are playing slightly non-standard moves, really. So
the game the other day with that Alekhine's gun lineup was it was Yao Yao Zhu, wasn't it, against Canwell, and I think White won it in the end. So that did work for White. That tripled major pieces on the a file.
Oh, Alekhine's gun.
Yes. After a Karpovian bishop a7.
Ooh. Oh, this is a good variation.
Next game, yeah.
The fun one, yeah.
Okay, so this is Ellen against Lara. Do you remember Ellen, Matthew?
Ellen.
I think she played us at Exchange Chess after the varsity match. I think that was the girl. She said she was Ellen, so I think this must be the same Ellen that was playing.
God, okay.
Remember? That was playing after the varsity match.
Okay, right. Yeah, no, I hadn't made the connection.
I think so. I'm not 100%, but I think so.
If she was pretty strong.
She was strong. She was very strong and very strong at exchange as well. And she was very good with knights. I seem to remember. G3, C5.
Yeah, this is a well-known variation actually. So White's trying to get some sort of Queen's Indian, but
Hi, Morris Smashley.
But without allowing Black to get all the nice bishop a6 options, etc. So what Black does here is just pile in on the center and try and exploit the fact that White didn't play c4. Lots of games in this. Levon Aronian has played this quite a lot with White, with decent success. And there is an absolutely stunning game, engine game, Stockfish Ali Stein, which, in this variation, which is just absolutely stunning. So, but let's have a look how it went. Knight f3, knight c6 is all quite common. c4, d4, e3, bishop e7, takes, bishop f4, and now interesting, bishop e6 was played. Just trying to remember. I thought castles was a normal move. I thought bishop e6 was slightly inaccurate. But the idea is, I'm sure Lara knows her theory much better than I do. So this is you're attacking the pawn on c4. I mean, I just wonder whether White can actually still play knight e5 here, which is the normal plan that you're playing, and I'm guessing that c4 pawn is not going to be takeable.
Oh right. So what if takes?
Yeah.
Bishop c4.
Yeah, no, yeah. Although I'm starting to wonder now, because if Queen A4, you could conceivably go B5, although
B5.
it doesn't look like the sort of thing any respectable person should be doing.
Oh, I see, because the rook on thingies. But what about just rook E1?
Yeah, rook E1 is possible. You know, that's maybe that's just going to end up awkward for black because you're threatening bishop B7 as well. It's possible, possible. But yeah, I mean, white played knight BD2, which is very sensible as well, and might well transpose. You know, so knight BD2, castles, and now I would expect. Yeah, I mean, knight E5 seems natural, but I can't help feeling that that black's actually gained something here somehow. Because you might be able to take on E5 now and go Queen D7, which I don't think you can normally do. You've got the bishop on E6 out early, so now you can defend your B7 pawn nicely like that. Because normally you end up putting the queen on B6 to have to do this. I think this might be
I feel like this D pawn's going to get in trouble though.
Well, C pawn's hanging at the moment. So if you go knight F3, I'll go bishop takes C4. So, and I'm just going to go rook D8. I'm going to push it to D3. Actually, that's the point. You know, it's going to be quite tough to get hold of. But I mean, it is sharp. I mean, black's definitely taking some risk. But I mean, I'm also threatening stuff like knight G4, and if bishop F4, then I go G5.
Oh yeah.
So black's got plenty of play in these lines. They're great lines. I mean, I looked at them a fair amount with black as well. So yeah, but I have a feeling somehow that after knight BD2, that castles that somehow black's got a good version. That the move orders have worked out well, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't.
And black's way up on the clock. I think she must still be in theory.
Must have. Yeah, this must be preparation. That's completely possible. That's,
okay.
Let's have a little look at the Is it the last game, or is there another two?
Another couple. So this is Machtelt.
Machtelt. That's right. Yeah.
Machtelt against Eugenia.
Machtelt van Foreest. Yeah, no, this is quite interesting actually. It's so Machtelt, of course, is I mean, how many Van Foreests are there actually? Well,
I was wondering that the other day. Well, there's certainly two very famous Van Foreests.
Yeah, there's Jordan, who's and Lucas. Both of them have been Dutch champions. Lucas a little bit younger. Jordan, very strong, winner of Wijk aan Zee Super Tournament, of course, second to Magnus Carlsen. So yeah, obviously pretty good guy. The funny thing about Van Foreest is that they're a real chess dynasty, because in the Amsterdam tournament of 1899, which was won by the great H.E. Atkins, one of my favorite old English players. But I think I'm right in saying that I think H.E. Atkins won the tournament with 100%, and I think I'm right in saying that I think it was the Van Foreest great grandfather that he ended with 0.
Oh no!
So it's but I mean, I think that was an aberration or something. But it's I think there are two of them actually, two Van Foreests from that time who were pretty strong Dutch players. You know, towards the top of the Dutch players at that time. And then later on you've got another 3 who are strong. And I mean, the word on the street was that Machtelt was actually the most talented of all of them. So. That Jordan and Lucas are pretty good already, but that Machtelt was
Well, she's younger, isn't she?
Yeah, in potential they thought that she was she could go even further. So that's pretty impressive. So not surprising then, just knowing that, to see that that she's leading the tournament, with quite clearly, because
and so we think she's not got a title yet, so she should be very likely, I think, to get a Women's International Master normally.
Brilliant. So what is this? This is a Tarrasch, and all black playing it in the good old-fashioned Karpov Korchnoi fashion. So with C5 and then E takes D5.
Yeah.
These are difficult. Yeah. difficult positions for black somehow. It's actually, if you put the engines on this and ask them to choose a system as black, this is the one that they choose. So it's obviously got a lot going for it, but just playing these isolated queen's pawn positions, I find them quite difficult. I mean, it's not like you've got an obvious attack; you've just got to play actively around it, and yeah, it's very easy to get lost. And anyone who's been brought up in the Karpov era has just seen too many games where where Karpov just sort of rounded everything up, really. So it's
well, of course, neither of these players were brought up in the Karpov era. They're both very young players.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah, and so Eugenia, we haven't mentioned Eugenia yet, but she's I think we worked out the other day 14 or 15, something like that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, she wasn't even born in the Kasparov era, so
no.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, isn't it? How many good young players there are. Good to see as well. It shows how alive chess is.
Yeah.
So knight f3, knight c6. I mean, great to see actually. Just 2 tournaments taking place at the same time on English soil. 2 women's tournaments, with young players and then also more experienced players playing. Really good to see.
Yeah.
So bishop b5, bishop d6.
Oh, and it's all at the Mindsport. Have you been to the Mindsport Centre in Hammersmith? Have you been there yet?
Haven't been there yet. No.
I've been a few times. Well, I ran a shogi tournament there the other week, but it's just so nice to have like a venue where lots of different games are happening at once, and it's both these norm tournaments are happening at the Mindsport Centre. It's really nice.
Must be a pretty big place then, if it can.
Yeah, because it's over 2 floors. So it used to be a Salvation Army building, and so there's a main room where they have like it's also the Young Chelsea Bridge Club is there, and so they have sort of big bridge duplicates in this main room, and then upstairs normally is chess, and they also have the Go Club. There's a T. Mark Hall room in memory of T. Mark Hall, who was a Go player who left kind of money for there to be a London Go Centre. So yeah, there's all sorts of games happening there.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I actually don't know which room they're playing in, but I imagine maybe they're downstairs. I don't know, actually. Maybe one of the crowd will know which room they're playing in today.
Yeah, it makes a big difference having a fixed place for doing stuff like this. You can really it just makes everything so much easier for organizing and everything, instead of turning up at a venue and you've got to make everything just right for the tournament. You can just get it right straight away. So brilliant, fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So white waits until Eugenia's developed her bishop and then kind of takes off on c5.
The battle for the tempo.
Yes.
So knight b3, and now slightly. I mean, bishop d6 is normal. It's all quite subtle, but bishop d6 is normal.
Okay.
Because now white plays bishop f4, which is I do believe is the slight irritation to that, and because it's finding a spot for the black queen really that's a little bit of a problem from time to time, and d6 is a lovely spot. But if you put the bishop on d6, you can play bishop c7 afterwards and go queen d6.
Right. Yes, I think there was another game in this tournament, and I'm trying now to remember if it was Eugenia again who'd played it back this way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's conceivable that I'm just remembering stuff from 30 years ago then, but I do seem to remember that this was supposed to be, not the best, bringing the bishop back to b6, but it was supposed to go back to d6. But
yeah.
And
we're using, it is Chess24, but we've got a sort of broadcast viewer based on Chess24.
So castles and then short castles and then h3. Yeah, so stopping bishop g4 is nice. Bishop f5, bishop d3.
Yeah, queen d7.
Bishop d3. Is this good? Swap off the bishops like that. Not sure. Feels.
White probably wants to, right? Because white can then control d4. Yeah. Or is that not right?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to work out whether I like that or not. I'm not sure. It's just yeah. I mean, the bishop can come to e4, right? So when it goes to f5 to e4, so that can be a little bit irritating. It's just somehow to just to play bishop d3 takes f5 so quickly, without even being forced to by a6 or anything like that. You just, something in me says, I would have liked to. That feels very, very direct. Put it that way, and I maybe would have liked to have tried to get something extra, before. To get a rook e1 in before, and then black goes a6, and then I move my bishop back, something like that. It's this just feels a little bit. Yeah, maybe a little direct, but it's probably it's that doesn't mean that it's bad or anything. It's just. Maybe there's a way of being just a little bit more a little bit more efficient as white. But yeah, queen d2 played. I mean, the basics of the position don't change, which is that black's got an isolated queen's pawn and white's just a little bit better. I mean, that's knight on g6. Okay. So I guess we're going to retreat that bishop to g3. That looks like a natural square. Bishop e3 is possible as well. I'm just thinking then of something like bishop c7 or something, and we might have something coming into f4. That might be a little bit annoying. So I quite like to put the bishop on g3 for now, and just bring the rooks into the center and then work out what we're going to do.
Hi, Tom. Tom Rendell is saying the bishop on f4 is looking a bit weird.
Yeah, well, it's definitely got to move. It's yeah. I mean, yeah. I've got mixed feelings about it. I suppose with a knight on g6, it is quite decent moving it back to g3. And then afterwards we'll work out where to put our pieces. Maybe. We'll go rook d1, rook e1. But I mean, yeah, it's an isolated queen's pawn, and white's a touch better, but black isn't. It's not too disastrous for black. The one thing about these positions, to be honest, is that I've actually studied, these IQPs quite a lot, and in this type of French, and I just found that it was very, very easy just to lose your way, and a couple of careless moves as black, and then all of a sudden you're passive. Keeping that activity going is actually more difficult than you realize. But one very nice idea for black always was to try and put a rook on e4. So, just try and play rook e8 and rook e4. That was a very nice idea. Use that e file that you've got, basically. The isolated queen pawn, normally it would be on e6. It's on d5 now, so use that e file and use that outpost on d5, and that's not bad. And then in the Stockfish Alpha Zero games, there were masses in this line. Alpha Zero was throwing forward its pawns with g5 and h5 and g4, and it won some stunning games. There's a few games that were really stunning in that. Obviously, with the knight on g6 is a little bit odd for the moment, but you might want to regroup that one. Maybe could go around f8 to e6, for example. That's one idea. Or once you played rook e4, you might go knight f4. But that would be my main thought, really. Play a rook, get a rook into e4, and then start trying to use the the e file and the d5 outpost. I do feel that white's played a little bit. Something's not 100% right with what white's done. That's my feeling somehow, and I don't think that black stands badly at all. Whereas I think, to be honest, after bishop b6, I do have the feeling that was slightly inaccurate. But yeah, it's small things, basically. Still a world of struggle to go ahead, to go on. I think black's played rook e8. Oh no, not yet. No.
Not yet. All right.
So let's have a look at the final game.
The last one. So Hannah against Alessia.
My goodness. Hannah Goossens. So Hannah is Belgian, I guess.
I think that's right. Yeah, let me just check.
Sorry, I'm throwing you a curveball. Really sorry about that. I don't mean to do it.
Thanks, Ipshi. Hannah is Belgian, yes. Yeah, and Alessia's Italian.
Fantastic. So we get Ginger GM's fame, of course, has spread even to those far shores, and we're getting a Jabava London system on the board. So d5, bishop f4.
Here we go.
So
I think there was a question from the crowd on how to defend against bishop f4 on move 2. So we're going to see it on move 3.
Yeah, bishop f4 on move 2. Many ways really. c5, knight c6, queen b6 is always quite a nice way to start. I mean, bishop f4 weakens the b2 pawn, so just try and hit it as quickly as possible with your queen. That's quite a sharp way of playing, you know, but it is quite nice, I have to say. This one is quite tricky. c5 played, so quite sharp. And e3 is the normal move, and yeah, there's lots and lots of stuff on e takes d4. So e3, c takes d4, e takes d4.
Oh my goodness, this has gone crazy
e4, e4 was played. Thank you, Natasha. And yeah, and this is a little bit sharper. So yeah, I'm wondering. I think Queen A. But this is. I don't actually think it's that amazingly sharp actually, because
no, queens are off.
I think Queen A5 check is possible.
Not here, it's not. So here, Queen A5.
Indeed. I think this is known, isn't it? Queen A5, C3.
Okay.
Queen takes C5, Queen A4 check. Knight C6, Queen E4. But I didn't think it was anything special for white. That might be wrong.
Blair Connell recommends this.
With white?
Yeah. The DC5. Yeah.
Okay, DC5. Okay, possible. It's again, you know, I'm a little bit past.
Yeah.
Not quite.
And now Alessia's way up on the clock again. Yesterday we saw her play very sharp theory for like or not yesterday, day before, for like well into the game. And she seems to.
Okay, so Queen D1. I'm a little bit surprised about Queen D1 because if you just look at what remains on the board, then you know White's got a, yeah, you know, slightly in development and also nice queenside majority, but not Bishop B5, Bishop D7, Knight E2. That looks fairly sensible. F3 could have been considered as well. But okay, so F6, Bishop E3 played, E5, C3. Okay, so trying to get that queen side moving, and Black tries to get the king side moving. F5.
Kevin says he doesn't get much out of Jabava London if Black plays it right.
Yeah, no, that's true, but it's still sort of a surprise weapon. So there are a lot of people who still get a little bit surprised by it, but obviously it's not going to be as effective as it was when Jabava first started playing it.
This looks fine because Black's going to just go F4.
Well, we go G3 here. That's what White did.
G3.
Castles, B4, and Bishop E7. Yeah, this is quite a sharp one, really. Black could have tried A5 as well to stop B4. I'm not sure about that. But this is quite sharp. I mean, Black is looking to play G5 here, actually, and then F4. Black's playing very aggressively.
Yeah.
So I guess that White really should be consistent and play H4, really. And then meet H6 with H5. You know, that would be the idea. So after H4, what are we going to do with Black? Oh, pardon me. Well, I mean, stuff like Bishop.
You could do it slow the way, like G6, H6.
You could do, but it's often when you do stuff that slowly, then by the time you reach it, you sort of feel you could have
forgotten what you were doing. Yeah,
you could have done something else with your life. I'm not sure. Bishop B6, you know, just in general, feels like quite a nice move to play. You know, because the light squared bishop on B5 is not brilliantly placed, and it might want to come back to C4. You know, and you know, just cause some problems, you know, just take away some squares. So Bishop E6 feels like a very nice move there. Attacking A2 as well, by the way. And then we can do stuff like a6, just put the question to the bishop. We can go king c7 simply, and then we can do your plan as well, Natasha, of going g6, h6, g5. That's we can do that nice and slowly. I mean, even with the bishop on e6 there, if you go h6 and white goes h5, you can go bishop f7 and attack the pawn on h5. So sort of even there are possibilities. So I say that probably white's going to go h4 and then bishop e6, and I think black's doing very well here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether. So I mean, would you have another move apart from h4? I'm a bit nervous about letting those pawns come down.
Yeah.
Yeah, not 100% sure about that. So yeah, that looks like black's doing. Pretty well.
She's played a different move though. She has played.
Bishop c4. Okay, well this is going to get sharpy because g5 is going to come in.
G5 now.
I will bet my house on it.
Really?
That would be shocking, wouldn't it?
It would. I'm not going to take you up on the bet, I have to say. Although any other move compared with g5, no, I'm still not going to do it. I don't have a house worth of betting to do today.
That's going to be a little bit annoying, isn't it? When you get an f4.
Yeah, Ibshi, I agree. I hope there will one day be a female world champion. It would be.
Absolutely. That would be amazing for the game. Yeah, that would be amazing for the game. Would do it a world of good. I mean, I suppose maybe is white going to go something like bishop d5 or something, and then after you go f4, you'll just drop back to c1 and sort of try and say, "Ha, you've just weakened yourself." I mean, I'm all in favor of saying "ha." I'm all in favor of saying stuff like "haha," but I'm a little bit worried about it. I mean, for example, even bishop f5 is possible, but even f3 here is quite annoying, really. I mean, you have to go back to g1.
G1. Oh gosh.
And then I go bishop f5 after. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, white's a bit jumbled up.
It only feels half legal to do this, really. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think this g5 f4 is just really dangerous
because you have to go like h4 to try and let your knight out, but then they just go g4 and you still can't get your knight out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this at all. I don't think. Yeah, I think g5 is going to be a strong one, unless white's got some b5 or something that he's planning. But I don't see it really. Because b5, I just go knight a5, and yeah, actually, what are you doing with your bishop? It's
so b5.
It's for white.
So g5, white. b5, yeah.
Yeah. I just go knight a5. I don't really see what the point is really.
This looks fun for black.
It looks very nice, doesn't it? Really, yeah. So I think we're going to be seeing g5 on the board pretty soon there.
So is this evaluation bar? This is. I haven't been noticing.
No, it's staying the same all the time.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
So the computer's neutral about what we're saying.
Yes. I don't think I've got it switched. I don't think it's
G5 played very fast, and why not?
G5 played. I'm glad I didn't take that bet.
God, just imagine that. I would have been on air. I would have been saying, Natasha, leave your house.
Thank goodness for that.
Good Lord, just imagine. Yeah. So, yes. Okay, that's brilliant. Let's really have a look at the original, the first game.
Yeah, let's go back to this the other. Let's see Lanyao. Oh no, we saw they drew quickly. We haven't seen yet Olivia Smith against.
Oh, because the moves weren't being played, were they? They were a bit late.
So it is a Sicilian, another Sicilian.
Against Madara or Lobska.
G6 castles, bishop G7, rook E1. We've seen a few of these Sicilians as well.
Okay, E5. Okay, bishop takes C6 now.
Takes takes
D3. Okay.
and D3.
Yeah, I mean, there's various ways of reaching this. So the Rosalimo was big in the Caruana Carlsen matches, and yeah, various ways of reaching it. This is, I mean, one big idea for white often is to play B4, even as a pawn sacrifice, just to get rid of that black pawn on C5. It's a bit counterintuitive, really, because it's the double pawn, but it does control some nice squares, you know, and some nice dark squares. And if you get rid of it, then you're able to play stuff like D4, for example, more easily. So yeah, A3, for example, is quite a common idea. Intending B4. Another common idea is to play A4, looking for A5, which is basically trying to surround the C5 pawn and, you know, cut it off from its friends, and then you know, come and win it, basically. So what did white do here?
So Olivia went bishop e3.
Yeah, not 100% sure. Okay, yes, it's a plan. Knight f6
and
h3, castles, queen d2. So very, very fast on this exchange, and again, it's one of those swings and roundabout things. I mean, you know, that dark squared bishop of blacks, of course, is you know, sort of it's sort of behind the e5 and the c5 pawn, so it's not exactly a star of the game. But it's like, you know, it's like the King's Indian bishop, which is also, you know, often you know, blocked in and everything. It is also holding everything together, you know, protecting some weak squares. And of course, once the bishop on g7 goes, actually the pawn on e5 gets weaker. That's the key point, and it means that black's much less able to play stuff like f5, for example, because you go e takes f5 and the e5 pawn is weak. So in terms of easy counterplay, then, you know, it can removing the dark square bishops can be quite useful. But some sharp stuff happened here, because after
so Madara moved the rook out the way so you could avoid the exchange, but I think she still did the exchange in a moment. So here, C4.
Well, yeah, because c4, that the opportunity to play c4, and yeah, I mean, there you're getting rid of your c pawn, which we said, you know, white's trying to do, but you are actually, in this way, you're going to weaken the white center there. So
yeah, I think if you can get this exchange in, it's nice for black, isn't it?
Exactly.
This pawn is weak.
But yeah, it's not that. Yeah, it's quite a complicated position here. And actually, you do notice that white's played it quite cleverly here, because what white did was bishop g7, king g7, and queen c3, and delaying the development of the knight on b1 gives you this lovely square on c3 for the queen. It's quite typical, and it means that you're attacking this pawn on e5. And we said that one would be weakened. Yeah. And actually, white's going at it straight away. So
might you swap that one for this one?
Well, black takes on d3 now.
Yeah.
And
okay, you could play. Oh, if queen, you could play queen takes, couldn't you?
Yeah, but c2 would be hanging afterwards. That would be that'd be way too risky, I think. After c takes, because it's black's move here.
Right. So you just defend. She just defends.
Do you know? I've looked at so many engine games recently. I've got into the habit of saying it all the time. So I do apologise, by the way.
Yeah,
I do apologise if I'm saying that from time to time. It's not means no disrespect to anyone. It's just
no.
I had to, because I kept on calling computers he all the time. So I finally managed to correct that.
I stopped you, didn't I? I said you mustn't do that.
You stopped me. So yeah, because engines, you mustn't anthropomorphize them. So
certainly not just assume they're he's.
exactly, because yeah, you shouldn't do that, because engines don't like that when you do that. So it's yeah. So I finally learned not to say he and say it, and now unfortunately I'm saying it for people.
Yes,
I can't get around it. Sorry, I do apologise.
I don't think you have.
Okay, brilliant. But if I do, then my apologies already. So knight bd2, yeah. So it's actually a little bit irritating for black. This pawn on e5 is a bit weak, and it interferes with your development. And actually, how is black going to get the light square bishop developed? Because bishop e6, obviously, that just loses the pawn. And after bishop d7,
Oh, you want
then,
a drum roll? Wait a minute.
Little drum. Oh,
we can do that. We can do that. Just takes me a few moments to get to the right place. Not a quick drum roll.
Brilliant. We go knight c4, and the pawn just cannot be defended. So actually, this is a little bit irritating for black. I mean, what black needs really is to defend that pawn with f6. That is the only course of action really that black has.
Oh, but how do we organise that? So we're here.
Yeah, so we need to move the knight out of the way.
Away. So knight back here.
Yeah, d7 or h5. I'm not sure.
Or h5. Knight h5. She's trying knight h5.
Yeah. The only thing is that when you go f6, white will play d4 at that moment, and then then you've lost control of the center. Really, it's a little bit. I mean, for example, I don't know whether knight c4 is the best move, but if I go knight c4, for example, f6 and then d4, and then you go e takes d4, and I go knight takes d4. Just a sample thing. Now I'm threatening e5, for example, which is really, really unpleasant. Black's just got no control of those dark squares, which sort of shows, very well why white wants to swap off the dark. Why white swapped off the dark square bishops there, and also why white was looking to get rid of that c5 pawn, because with those two things together, then this position's really promising for white. So I think that black's in a bit of trouble actually. Unless black's got some really devilishly clever way of developing after knight bd2. Now, the one thing that vaguely, yeah, I mean, if I was black in this position, I suppose that's what I'm saying is I would maybe be looking at a move at an idea like, I think two ideas. One is maybe to play c5 here. If I can get away with it, which is I'm clamping down on d4 basically, so you're not going to get d3, d4, and I'm also putting. Hey, Ocelot, good to see you. Then that puts the pawn on the defended square, so I can play b6, and after b6, and I can put my bishop maybe on a6 and attack the pawn on d3.
Yeah, sort of thing.
And here I can go knight d7. We don't have d4 at least. I mean, the slight worry is that white's going to play a3 and then b4, and then just keep on chipping away at you, basically. But okay, maybe I go bishop a6 or something, and I can meet b takes c5 with bishop takes c4, something like that. Who knows? Bishop c4, and then I can take back with a piece on c5 afterwards. So c5 would be one idea. The other idea that would probably occur to me instead of c5 would be to play b6 as a pawn sacrifice and see whether I could make that work. Probably not. But the idea is queen c6. I want to go bishop a6. That's the one I want to do. And just counterattack and get rook c8 and who knows, queen b4 and maybe, just get some play. Because the queen could be trapped quite easily if I go queen b4 afterwards. That's the idea. But I don't know. I mean, that would depend how much effort I wanted to spend on calculation, really. Of course,
because they don't have to take on c6, do they?
No, that's right. But I'll go bishop a6 quickly then, maybe, and I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I could just go knight c4 again, and you're forced to go knight d7, and then I'll go d4 afterwards. Maybe that's just a simple and strong idea. Possibly is, actually. Maybe that's terrible, actually. Yeah, that probably is terrible. So probably c5, I think, is the best move, I would say. Just trying to hold back, one big white threat, d4, and then, then you'll try and get it developed. And white will just
c5, we think, yeah.
Yeah, and then white will just have to then c5, and then white's gonna. Well, it's definitely going to do something with a3, b4 in some shape or form. I mean, you could even just say go b4 straight away and just say, okay, I will. So c5, b4. I'll play it like a Benko or something. That's probably going a little bit over the top.
Unnecessary.
Probably unnecessary, but something like knight c4 and then a3, seems pretty decent, really. I mean, I played one of these sort of things in 2019, maybe in Holland, in Haarlem, and it's a weird. I always found it a weird experience because I always found somehow that these structures with these pawns on d3, they're a little bit loose as well, you know. And you think you're doing really well, and then all of a sudden you don't quite get it right, and you don't make the most of your activity, and then you just end up with, you know, black's gone c5, and then your d3 pawn is just lost. You're piling up on the d file. So they do. They're quite nice for white, but they contain a certain measure of risk, it must be said, you know, positional risk. And that's why you like a move like c5, because you know, it's also sort of saying, okay, well, white, you've also got a weakness as well, you know. So so things could go wrong for you as well, you know. And I think the worst thing that you can have when you're defending a position is the feeling that whatever white does, white's always going to have a great position, you know. And a move like c5 sort of counters that a little bit. So I think that's really I think that's kind of a box, really, that move. It's really really I think that's probably showing. I know what you know what that means, but I'm wondering whether anyone else does anymore.
c5 box cross d3.
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah, we used to, I used to write for our university magazine, and we used lots of box symbols, meaning only move. So it's the old informator symbol, box.
I don't think is that used.
We used to even talk like that as well. We'd go,
yeah. Is that used anymore? I'm not even sure. It's really informator time, I think. So it's
they don't use it on chess face, do they? On comments.
Yeah, I mean, it's there, but I don't seem to remember seeing it very much anymore. Everyone's always saying this is 0.23 or
yeah. Box is still used, says Plukru. Yes. Okay. Well, I suppose if we all use it, then it's used.
Exactly. All right, let's have a look at the next
no, we hadn't seen this game yet as well. I think Elzbieta against Yao Yao.
Let's have a look.
Okay.
It looks like some sort of
another Sicilian.
Oh no, okay, sorry.
C3, you know.
This is a coffee house chess repertory. You want to know more about this? Dwayne should be paying me somehow, but definitely worth seeing that book. And this is actually in there, this variation. I remember it.
Lots saying younger viewers will wonder what informator is. Yeah, that's true. Instead of like databases of games, we just used to get these huge, great books and just play through.
But to be honest, that is why we were so strong compared to young players nowadays.
Strong as in strong this way. Well,
exactly. Right? I mean, and the great thing as well was that, you know, you always had this. Already, you were training for the tournament whilst you were packing your case, because you had to decide an extra shirt or an extra informant, you know, and you were really weighing up all the time, you know, how many clothes you took, or could you, if you took out 3 of your shirts and just wore the same one for 4 days longer, whether you could fit an extra informant, you know, very, very important stuff going on there. So already you're getting into this, you know, this very active and practical frame of mind. So I think it definitely helped. And I do remember the first tournament I played as a professional. So I'd left school at 16, and I went with my mum to. No, I wasn't professional yet. This was during the school holiday.
Ocelot, I'm 54 and I don't know what informator is.
Okay, I'll stop. I'll just stop. It's
I used to have lots of, and you'd know them by the number, because that was the number. It was a bit like number plates on a car, wasn't it? The year, you could tell when they were brought out by the
informator. Yeah, I mean, there's some that stick in your mind. You know, you knew that informator 67 had that really big novelty that you wanted to use. You know, but the terrible thing is, you know, we took it all along, and you put some of that analysis on engines nowadays, and it's so bad, and you think, my God, I just took along all that heavy rubbish with me, and it was all bad, but it was ideas. I mean, you know, you just can't imagine nowadays how difficult it was to have chess ideas and inspiration, you know, and informant was the big way of doing that, you know. Just can't imagine professional life in the 80s without it.
Yeah.
I remember, you know, had a little sponsorship when I was younger, and one of it was getting me the complete set of informants. I can't remember ever being as happy as I was then as a child to have all the informants. You know, it's
Yeah,
So,
and the encyclopedias of chess openings as well, didn't like Ray Keane did one. There was a Batsford chess openings and a ECO. What was ECO? Just encyclopedia of chess openings.
Five volumes. 5
volumes. Yeah.
They're still there, actually. I think that the ECO still exists. So, but pretty good, actually. Pretty good. But yeah, again, it was a lot of it was not. Looking at it now,
Ooh, an NCO by Nunn. I didn't know NCO.
Nunn's chess opening. Yeah, that came later. Yeah.
I mean, I used BCO mostly, Bats for chess opening, because that was only in 1 volume, wasn't it? That was quite.
Right. Yeah, that was 1 volume.
But maybe that meant my opening repertoire was also, a bit less.
I think that New in Chess also brought something out at the time. It was it was really. I mean, there were a few like that, but ECO was really the Encyclopedia of Chess Openings was really the main one, really. But this is a very nice thing
back
from
to Yao Yao and Elzbieta. So Yao Yao is Adam Ashton's wife.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and their daughter is playing a lot of chess, doing really well. Yeah. So I think that's probably why Yao Yao is suddenly playing a lot as well. So she's having an amazing tournament. She's doing really well. So
fantastic.
So that's very nice. Yeah.
So I told you about my game against Adam Ashton, didn't I? It was.
Tell me again.
Well, I played him at the 4 NCL, and well, obviously, I take my game seriously. So there we are. I prepared. I didn't know I was playing him necessarily, but I had prepared against him. And obviously, in the morning, I'm getting ready and all of that. And then you look across the breakfast table, and there you see Adam with 2 little kids and feeding them and all of that. And they were they were lovely. They were gorgeous kids, but they were obviously they were requiring a lot of attention. And you're thinking there's a bit of a difference in terms of focus going on. And then of course I played Adam, and he played a great game. But it was just super long. So it must have lasted about 80, 90 moves, and I ground Adam down in the end. But he put up a fantastic resistance. But I was sort of thinking at the end, and now he's got to look after his kids again, and together. It's a tough life, being amateur with family. So, but brilliant that his kids.
It's lovely that Yaya's playing, isn't it? Yeah.
And wonderful. That's great. That's really. I mean, it's a great family thing to do, isn't it? Being able to.
Thanks for the follow, AA Ron 88. And did you play, the crowd saying, did you play Shropshire 92? Shropshire Open 92.
My goodness.
Do you remember?
That's a...
Ha, stumped you.
Right. So D3.
So you're thinking about that.
It's very nice. It's a very nice thing, actually, because the point of Gawaine's move order, I mean, it's a similar structure to what we've just been looking at. But because White hasn't committed the knight to G1, on G1 to F3, you can play F4. That was Gawaine's big point.
Nice. I like it already. I want to play it too. I'm going to play this line. I like it a lot already.
He's full of sneaky stuff like that, Gawaine. Yeah. Always very irritating playing him. Or preparing for him, you've always got to look at lots of.
It's bad enough preparing for his wife, I have to say. she's always very well booked up.
It's true. She's always very well prepared.
Yeah, no, she's a great player. Oh dear.
So Bishop G4, F3, Bishop E6, F4. So yeah, so actually this is very nice. This is sort of accelerated, basically. I mean, you might consider playing F5 here, to be honest. That feels quite tempting. F5 and then knight G3 simply. Bishop D, and Queen G4, knight H5 could be very strong. Actually, you're quite fast. Certainly sounds tempting. Also, even to go maybe knight G3 straight away instead of going F5 could be
so here 10
as well. On move 10 as well.
It's not letting me do that. Okay, knight G3. There we go.
And then if E takes F4, we go knight H5. And we're hitting.
Nice.
We're hitting G7 and if Bishop E5, I go Bishop takes F4, and I'm still threatening knight G7 check. I know all possible. Just a lot of possibilities here for White. Nice position, really, basically. So, I mean, another idea that White's definitely got would be maybe to go A4 to A5, just to try and tie down those pieces. And if black goes a5, then, well, that's, weakening the black queen side a little bit more. So, yeah, lots of possibilities. But white played bishop e3, which is also perfectly good. Knight f6 played.
Knight f6.
Yeah, a little bit of.
I think Elżbieta. Wait, there's something coming back to me. I think she's she's Polish this tournament, but I think she's living in England and maybe going to switch to English. But she has to stay Polish for this tournament to make sure there's enough foreign players for the norms.
Brilliant. Welcome.
Yeah.
If so, wonderful. So, knight f6. Yeah, knight g4 is a bit irritating. So white played h3 here. Long castle.
Castle's long.
It's well, if you think that's spectacular, you should see 960 long castles. They're amazing. So, knight a4. That's a sharp move.
So this is looking at this pawn here.
Wow. How about that?
So if you then go, you could defend it like that, but then this is all a little bit loose.
They could go b4 then.
Yeah, let me just do that. Let me do that without the.
Well, you're putting it all red. That's pretty good.
Looks very dramatic, doesn't it?
There is quite a lot of danger there. Yeah, b4. B4 is pretty strong. Oh, actually, maybe knight a4 is just a really strong move, actually, because you can't defend it with knight d7, which would be your natural go-to move.
So knight a4, knight
because
d7.
If you go there's f5 now.
Ooh, and look at that bishop on.
Yeah, that is not good news.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So actually, how?
Right. So what? Knight a4.
So I mean, you could go c4, but that is conceivable. But then, well, actually, then it's a question of counting up how you actually want to win everything. Because I mean, you go bishop b6 is a very strong one to start with, and
yeah.
And even f5 followed by knight c4 is also horrific. So,
yeah, okay.
So what did black do? Black played.
Black took on f4, taking away that kind of.
Yeah. That's that. I mean, that's a good start. But knight f4 played.
Yeah.
And you're still. I mean, you could go knight d7, but then I could just take on e6 and go rook f7, for example.
Yeah.
Which, it's not necessarily. It's not nice.
Yeah, black's gone h5.
Oh wow. Well, knight takes c5 is a pretty good place to start, I think.
Yeah.
Simply. I mean, you're just.
So this is looking nice for Yo-Yo.
This is looking brilliant for Yo-Yo. It's a wonderful position. I mean, black. I suppose if I'm. Could this be true? Can't be true. I need some tactics somehow. I mean, I'm just wondering about bishop g4 in this position somehow, but I can't.
Bishop g4 here to kind of tempt you to take it.
Yeah, I mean, well, the idea is to move the bishop out of attack, so I could have something like g5 next. Oh, actually, wait a minute. There's another. Sorry, just a little bit slow on this because after knight takes c5, I could just take on c5.
Takes
and go knight e4. This is possible.
Right.
Sorry, I do apologise. I'm not very awake today. Which is, I mean, I'm not sure.
White takes here.
Yeah, f takes e6. I mean. This is not really what black want to do positionally. Give up the dark squares like this, which I think is why I sort of didn't enter my head. But you are getting a knight onto g3 somehow, which is a little bit irritating. I'm not sure. Is this bad for black? I'm not sure really.
Chris Baker's suggesting queen b6.
After
I guess must be after here, mustn't it?
Yeah,
don't we have? That looks dangerous with a pin, but
well, we have b4 though, surely.
A b4.
And if queen b4, then I'll go rook b1. That must be. That must be worth.
Yeah, that looks convincing.
That must be worth something. But I don't think bishop c5 is so bad necessarily.
Right.
So maybe we should just go after h5. Maybe we should just go queen e2 or something.
Queen e2 here, like that.
E2 or queen e1. I'm not sure now which one. Maybe queen e1. No, I'm not sure. But just one of those anyway. And we're threatening knight c5, but we're protecting everything, and we're not getting in the way of anything. And yeah, I mean, it's up to black really. I mean, it's black's going to have to show how there's compensation. I mean, the one thing I can think of.
Oh, wait a minute. Queen b6, b4, knight takes e4 was the idea.
Wow, we're really going for it.
Idea.
But could I go knight f takes e6 here?
Knight f takes e6. F. I was going to say knight f takes e6 here.
And after f takes e6, I just go d takes e4. I mean, you can go bishop h2, but that's a lot of material for me. I'll just take, and I've got rook knight, and it's pretty. I mean, some of those positions are okay for black, but this one's full of holes, really. So yeah, I guess this one, rook f, is also fine. It's a lovely idea, Chris, but I think it's just. I think it's too much somehow. That would be my feeling. I'm just thinking that after, so if you say queen e2, what I could do is simply go. Can I do this? I want to go bishop d7. Actually, was the idea, and then threaten g5, picking up the knight on f4 because it hasn't got a square. But I mean, there are many. There's many things for white. It's not good enough really.
Because that knight will be loose as well.
Yeah, that knight will be loose as well. So it's not really. I think queen e2 or maybe queen e1. Probably queen e1 is more subtle. Feels like it. Then white must be doing white must be doing well here. You would have thought. It's just you must be winning a pawn.
Yeah.
Or getting control. I like queen e1 actually because you can come out to c3 or to a5 later. Which is quite might be worth something there. And you also keep e2 free for the white knight as well. So it just feels like it checks all the boxes in terms of playing safe and also attacking as well.
Yeah.
So I like white's position a lot. I really do.
Okay. Let's go on to
Peace.
So now where were we up to? We saw this before.
It was f5 was played. 11 f5.
5 is here.
You got to say that this. I mean, Sarah's always well prepared, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's takes her chess very seriously. So knight takes e5.
Well, no, she has got a tiny kid now, or another tiny kid, or something. She's
got a few, hasn't she? Yeah,
and she does so much work for junior chess, and I mean, Sarah's an absolute hero. I don't know, I haven't mentioned it yet, but she does all this stuff for junior chess and training and ECF and loads of things, and studies chess and has a kid, so or 2 or whatever however. I think it's 2, isn't it?
I think it's 2. I think I saw a second one on Facebook.
Yeah, and quite recently. Yeah. So if she is up to date in her theory, that's amazing. and we should say Canwell also. Canwell also.
Look what happened.
Oh, no, can I just say she's an entrepreneur before we look what happens? Right, there we go.
Look.
Queen of 6. Knight f3. So she took the pawn off. G5.
I said. That's what I said.
Oh, we knew that was going to happen. Okay. G5 has come in. This is the scary attack. Yeah, we were talking exactly about this, weren't we?
Actually, what Canwell went for. Canwell decided to just to give back a piece and not try and survive the attack, by hanging on to stuff.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, it might be a sensible. It might be a sensible. He spent a long time, I think, Canwell. So Yeah, must have. It's yeah, it's a decent practical. I mean, the thing is as well is that this is probably less likely to be something that that Sarah knows. Basically, it's just a struggle. It's just going to be 3 pawns for the piece. Yeah, maybe it's a good practical decision. Maybe. Just still feels quite dangerous for white somehow because the stuff pointing towards the white king. But if you can survive it, then yeah, 3 pawns. Why not? Interesting stuff. Interesting. So g4 played, knight bishop e2, or takes and bishop e2. Yeah. Just bishop e2 here. It's and yeah,
wait, what's going on? Sorry, she took.
Well, it's what I was explaining that white decided to give back the piece rather than try and survive.
Takes. Okay.
So it's 3 pawns per piece. 3 pawns, better structure. So yeah, I mean, I really do wonder what an engine would say about this. Probably, it's probably not quite as big an advantage as we think. Although, black does have 2 bishops, is quite nice. But yeah,
I guess Sarah can now reroute her knight.
Yeah, that is the lovely point of it. I mean, we should try and get a knight onto e4. I mean, that's really, but that's going to take a while, of course. But a reroute sort of
onto e4. She could. How do you get it to e4 that way?
Well, or b7 and then d6. Yeah.
There and there. Okay.
That would be an obvious place to put it.
But then I suppose white could just kick it away though.
Well, yes, but if you look at white's next move, I mean, white's pretty much bound to play d4 really, because I mean, you do need the space really. You can't you go d3, then the knight can come to e5. Knight c6 to e5. So I mean, bishop e6 was played, and then d4.
Yeah.
Yeah, knight c6. I'm wondering whether that's the best. I really would have liked to maybe once I got the time just to try, but I don't know whether it's possible because knight b7, there's maybe c4 or something, which might be irritating. But that would have been the thing that I would have been straining on, basically. If I was playing black, I'd be really trying to work out, can I get my knight on that e4 square? Because if it gets there, then it's really huge. I think it's game over if I get a knight on e4. But we could do it in other ways. We could go e7, g8, f6, e4.
Just looking at other ways, yeah.
Also possible. It's like this knight tour.
Because then we could do king h8, and then you don't even know whether we're going to go rook g8 or knight
exactly.
g8.
I mean, that would actually be quite a nice thing to do.
Oh, and actually, looking at the current position, she does have a knight. Oh, she has a knight g6.
Yeah, it's not bad either. But I just have the feeling that it's not quite contributing the full power somehow. But yeah, I think what Sarah did was very, very reasonable. And again, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure how to get all this done. It's just desire that I'm expressing rather than real knowledge about how to do it. So how do you go? c3, bishop f7, queen d3.
Oh, so you could go around that way, but they might take it when you go.
Yeah, well, that would give you the two bishops.
That's where I'm trying to go.
That would give you the 2 bishops, but the problem is when you go to e6, then the d5 pawn hangs. So
oh no.
I mean, that's the nice thing, that's the nice thing about. I mean, to be honest, what I would be thinking about if I was white here would be to play b3, a4, and bishop a3, just to try and swap off these the dark square bishops. Because it is quite a bit of power that black's got. The black can generate, to point at the white king. So I'd really want to start exchanging off pieces. But yeah, I mean, I guess this is just very good for black, really. The black's just active, and the pawn weaknesses won't matter for now. But of course, if you do get into some sort of ending, then actually there's no real reason why white should be much worse. It's an extra piece, but 3 pawns. Split pawns. White's got 2 bishops. Nothing too amazing there. So let's have a look how it went. Queen d3. Knight e7, b3, rook c8, bishop d2. Okay. Knight g6, bishop e2, king h8, queen h3. Queen h3. Isn't bishop f4 strong here, actually?
Oh,
Sorry. Our rook's not on g8 yet. Sorry, I'm getting overexcited there.
But bishop f4 just to... white was wanting to swap off those bishops.
Yeah, white was wanting, but the thing is, if I go knight f4, if I get a knight onto f4, I get threats of against g2. So maybe I go rook g8 here. I don't know. That might be an idea.
Yeah. Okay. So rook g8, we think maybe.
Yeah. It's looking a bit awkward for white, really.
Yeah.
Looking a bit awkward, but we'll see. Yeah, black's going to have to. White's going to have to just keep it tight at the back and then hope to survive somehow. You know, I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah. All right. Aha. Sheila has had a draw in her game, so that one's finished. Where did we see that?
It might still be theory, actually, I think.
Oh, is it? We were somewhere. We had the knight in on d5, bishop g7.
Oh yeah, okay. So white played another plan, which is quite normal. Took on e7, played c4. C4 is another quite common one there. Then black doesn't take it, just plays counterattacks against the center with f5. And then f3. It's a slightly strange move, but I'm not quite sure why. d5, very common, this sort of attack. And then e4, and you just get, you just activate your dark squared bishop here.
Mm.
So queen check, king h1. I think this might well be theory. d6.
Okay.
Bishop e6, rook c1, and eventually you're going to get bishop c4 and queen d6. I mean, that's and you can decide, when you want to do that, really.
Yep.
So, I mean, the one thing, it's never quite clear, these positions, because black does have an awful lot of weak light squares. So if you give up the bishop for the knight, then, for example, you could have some play along the f file. But maybe, pardon me, maybe we go e3 in this position with black. I don't know. Maybe we go e3 and then just try and play f4 afterwards. And then at some later stage, just try and take the pawn on e5. That might be decent as well.
Mm.
I mean, there's play in it, but yeah, I would imagine that this is something like this is maybe already well known. Wouldn't surprise me anyway. Sveshnikov theory really goes very deep. Okay.
All right. So there's only one more round to play after these guys have finished this round. So that's tomorrow morning, I guess.
Tomorrow morning, okay.
Yes. Okay, let's hop back to the She Plays to Win. And so we're Carmen against Daria.
Yeah, so we just a pretty typical Maroczy bind, really.
She did choose this. Where did we get to? She was.
We looked at knight f6 was the last move we saw.
Knight f6. So she did do the c4 and knight f6.
Yeah, so we just sort of play the standard moves, really. That's a nice thing for white. You can play this quite... Yeah. Well, the white's taken a lot of time, but in principle, you should be able to make these moves quite quickly. Just protect everything. a4 now. Oh, g3. Ooh. I mean, that's the thing about these hedgehog-type positions for black. I mean, you spend all of your time trying to get white to create some weaknesses, and G3 is a really... G3 is a big one because, it weakens the light squares around the king side there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it might be a good move, right? But I'd be, with black, I'd be getting very excited about having created that one. And sometimes just your opponent being excited is just not what you want, really. But,
yeah.
It does chase away the bishop, from this diagonal. So it gives white the opportunity to play rook c1, which is nice. But now a4 and knight c6.
And that's where they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have the feeling that the white hasn't done this super well. But on the other hand, I don't think that anything terrible is happening. I mean, the basic contours of the position remain the same. You've got pawns on e4, c4, a4, clamping down on black breaks, b5, d5. There's a bit of a weak d6 pawn, and nothing awful tactically seems to be happening to you. So queen d2 played, that's quite sensible. The only question always in these positions is whether black can cause trouble with something like queen b4, for example, and attack the pawn on b3, and then maybe get some, in some crazy way get a break with d5. I mean, actually, this last move, black could even look at playing d5 now, actually.
Okay. So takes.
Yeah. Yeah, and then takes.
And takes again.
Okay, and then I'll go knight e5, for example. I mean, I'm threatening knight takes f3, already, and that's entirely due to the fact that black's gone g3. The white's gone g3 rather. So.
Oh, you're threatening because if recaptures, then you're taking on c3. Yeah.
So I don't know, and I mean, I could go a move like knight e4, for example, but I'll take on d2, and then go. Well, actually, I can even go rook c1 and knight d3, can't I? Actually, when you're going to be doing pretty well to not lose a piece there. I don't even know how that's possible, because after rook c4, I go b5. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, there's
b5 could be possible here.
There are definite. I mean, that would be, my alarm bells would be ringing at this stage, just to trying to make something like this work. I mean, knight takes c6 is another idea.
Here.
Yeah, and then the slight irritation there for black is that bishop on d7. I could play bishop takes c6. Pardon me. So ed, maybe a couple of ideas. I could try c5, but that looks, I'm sure d4 is going to be awful. So I go c takes d5. And then, yeah, there's a big chance that this is just getting into massive liquidation. That's the big problem. So I could go bishop takes c3, or I could even go bishop takes d5. But, the likelihood is that lots of stuff is getting exchanged there.
Yeah.
Which would obviously not make you 100% happy. Well, depends who your opponent is and what you're what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But knight c6, yeah, I could take with a b pawn, but possible. I mean, there's definite possibilities anyway. I mean, this is something that you definitely you should definitely look at if you're black, and getting interested. Because of course the alternative is that you don't do that, and then you're just in your structure again, and white's. But it's one of those things. It's one of those things they don't really tell you, in books about strategy. That probably the most difficult and wearing thing to deal with are positions where you sort of feel that your opponent is missing a lot, but it's not quite good enough ever.
Thanks for the follow, procrastinado.
And that's actually, yeah. You can often waste a lot of time in those things where you sort of spend, you say this is inaccurate, but somehow it's not quite inaccurate enough. So, and yeah, it could well be that that's the case with this move queen d2, that, yeah, it's allowing d5, but yeah, somehow it's not quite good enough to make a difference.
Hi, so there's two tournaments actually that we're looking at. We're looking at two Women's International Master Norm tournaments. There's the She Plays to Win International that this game's part of, and also the ECF Invitational. And so it's like a 9-round all play all. This is round 8, so into the closing stages. And we're just about to look at Zoe Varney against Louise Head. And we got up to, where did we get up to? We were
move 7, knight g6.
Knight G6 was played by Louise, and we were
you
looking at
wanted
all
H4.
sorts of lines.
H4 is what you wanted.
H4 is what I wanted. So now, how do I see which was the one that was actually played?
Knight H3 was played.
Knight H3. Ah, yeah, we thought this was quite sensible.
Yeah. Bishop B7, castles, Queen D2. This is what we said, yeah.
Queen D2.
And then Queen C7. Yeah, the queen's no longer useful on B6. Rook A1. Yeah, very nice. B6. Bishop D3. Yeah, why not? Bishop B7 and knight. Oh, knight E2. That's the idea. Aha. So white is aiming to play C3, basically.
So this is the more positional Zoe. She's been trying to play some more positional chess. But she's still building up for an attack, I think.
I think so. I mean, I think C3 is coming in just to support the center. And then afterwards, E5 and F4. So C5 has been played. And then I guess that Zoe's idea here is to play C3. Now, I suppose what I would sort of be thinking of with black would be to take on D4. I don't know whether would I do that immediately. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, let's say it take on D4 and then take on E4.
So pawn takes?
Yeah. And then if F takes E4, then knight F6. Just attacking that E4 pawn and, well, maybe hoping to do something clever.
Yeah.
Because those pawns are under quite a bit of pressure. And if you go E5, I get knight D5, which is, quite nice, really. And of course, or even knight E4, but the B7, the A1 H8 diagonal is open there. So probably knight F2, I guess. So that covers G4 as well. Yeah, now this is a bit of the question. I mean, maybe black could play rook C8 or rook D8. I'm not sure. Not quite sure which one I want to play, really. Maybe rook D8 is not bad. And I don't know. I'm not sure. In some ways, it looks very impressive that white's got this double pawn center. On the other hand, I mean, I could start looking at little sacks, like going bishop D6 and after E5 just taking it and having all my pieces aiming towards the... I mean, in actual fact, even bishop D6 straight away is, instead of rook D8.
Yeah.
Bishop D6 could be considered. Because if you go E5, I go queen C6.
Okay, clever. And so this fork doesn't... Wait a minute. So what do we do? Wait, so we just defend this. How do we do that? That's I guess the point. How do we defend that? No, F4 doesn't work. Is it just you can't?
Yeah, no, it's a big problem. Yeah, so I know. I mean, yeah, I mean, you could maybe throw in a rook C1 or something, but I'm not. I take on. No, I just take on H2. I think and go queen D6. Yeah, I mean, this could be quite awkward, for white. Just somehow the black pieces are quite beautifully placed, and I think there's some problems there. So, yeah, I mean, I would think. I certainly think this C3, then taking on E4 and going knight F6 at some stage is going to be the way to play. The only thing I'm not 100% sure is when to take on D4 because you open the C file and you might not want to, might have an inconvenient rook C1 at some stage. I don't see it yet, but maybe. Yeah. So so you probably want to to maybe just play D takes C4 here. F takes E4, knight F6, and then just see what white comes up with.
So okay, Zoe has played C3.
Okay, yeah, we'll see. I don't know how obvious D takes C4, knight F6 is. If you're I don't know. I mean, it feels like a sort of a Queen's Gambit type position, So if you're that sort of player, I think it's very, very natural. It's maybe a bit less natural if you're not, but we'll see. we'll see what black comes up with.
Yeah, Louise, she does play d4, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's a 1d4 player. That's right.
Yeah.
It looks quite good. Good for well, good for black is too strong, I think. But it looks like black's doing quite well there.
Yeah.
Would have been nice for white to get in e5 a bit earlier somehow, and it was maybe, you could maybe argue that knight e2 and c3 was not really necessary to support the center. You could have gone e5 earlier, I think. Yes, maybe possible. But okay, we'll see. Exciting game ahead, I think.
Okay. Ellen and Lara. So
wowsies, what happened here?
We had it here, didn't we?
I think I may have mentioned that we had knight g4 and g5 coming in at some stage.
Yes.
And actually, but actually, what I hadn't quite realised that it could happen immediately. Well, knight g4. I think bishop f4 was incautious. I think rook e1 was still. That looks very natural somehow.
Just, right. So rook e1 for Ellen here, like that.
Yeah. I think that was still perfectly fine. But white went bishop f4, and I think had missed g5.
Oh yeah. Okay, g5. Oh, do we just white just loses a bishop? Well,
not. I mean, you got the move h3 here, which is quite natural. You could play h3 here, and then I'm not quite sure how black does this. I mean, you could play gf, hg, fg, or you could take on f2 first. I'm not sure which is best, but in all cases, we've got some nice dark squares for black.
Yeah.
Although, if you do it this way, I might go f4 here. Would that be possible?
That's right. Here and f4.
It's possible. Probably to go d3. That's the thing. I'm having bishop c5 and queen h4, so I could go g5, I suppose. I don't know. This is rather. It's rather random, put it that way. But I mean, I think black's doing stuff.
It's nice for black, though, doesn't it?
I like it for black. I mean, I'd take it with black any time. Just you're shaking the white position up. You're not getting caught in a solid reti. You're making something of it. So yeah. But why did something rook e1, which was rather interesting?
Okay, so what's white's answer then?
Well, the idea is he takes f4.
Right, so e6 and take on g4. Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately, I think white must have missed. Knight takes f2. I think.
Yeah.
And now king f2, fg.
Take another.
H.
And then take that one. So that's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff, yeah. I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns, 3. So it's exchange and 3 pawns. Now, obviously, you're going to lose some pawns back, but even if you lose 3 back, you're still just the exchange up. So, yeah, this is really bad for white. This is
Nat needs a nap, says the chat. Queen g4, king h8, queen takes e6. Okay, so 1 pawn back.
Yeah.
So exchange and 2 pawns for black.
Yeah, I don't know. Queen d6 feels like a natural thing to do, but just to kick back the queen and get the rooks connected.
Yep.
But there must be. Yeah, this is just winning basically. But
okay,
you just got to.
Fine. Well, Lara's been doing very well. I'm just going to check on her score. Lara is 5 out of 7, and Ellen on 2.5. Okay, so let's see the next one. Now I did practice this Machteld.
Brilliant.
Against Eugenia, and we saw it. Where do we see it? We saw it around here.
Yeah, so actually white didn't really manage to get that much going. So knight e5 played, and well, white took off all the pieces. That's fair enough. That's I mean, you're playing against this basically the bishop on b6 can't defend the pawn on d5, so you're hoping that you know, that you can just line up on it and yeah, that's actually, you know, pretty good strategy. It's just after queen f6 it's slightly awkward, you know, because obviously there's a lot of pressure on f2, so you can blockade on d4 with a knight, but then yeah, I mean, I wonder, yeah, if you could maybe, you know, white should be trying to put the knight on d3 simply, and just you know, that protects the pawn on f2, and if d4 then you go c4, you know, that would be that might have been
So go around this way.
Yeah, I'm wondering. It's not. I probably got to watch out because probably d4, d3 quickly as possible. But that might be something, you know, worth aiming for anyway. You know, to do that. So rook e8, knight f3, rook d8. I mean, was rook d8 necessary? Actually, I'm not even sure. Actually, could have maybe just gone g6, and if queen d5, then rook e2. That looks quite decent as well.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. But anyway, rook d8 played. Queen d3, queen c6, knight d4. Oh, queen c4, interesting. So knight f5 played. All right, takes. King h7. Okay. Oh, in order to go g6. Okay. Yeah, okay. I wanted to defend the h pawn there.
Mm.
So knight e7, d4, c4.
So is this pretty drawish now?
It's looking quite drawish, yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah, b3. Now, I wonder about the move b takes c4, because that actually activates the white rook quite a bit. I'm wondering about that one, because, I mean, like this, there's not much that can happen, right? I mean, you've got b takes c4. So if you want to activate the white rook, then, well, it'll have to go to f3 maybe. But after you go b takes c4, the rook can come to b3.
Okay, so instead of that, what, a6?
Well, you don't need to go a6. Maybe you just go king g7 and try and get your own king a little bit more active. Should be better for white, this, to be honest. You know, the knight's better than the bishop on c5, I think. And, you know, you've got potential, like you could put a king on d3 and then get your rook somewhere else. You know, I think this is maybe just quite good for, this has maybe turned out quite nice for white, I think. I mean, I suppose the main way that you can maybe get some counterplay would be if you could attack the c4 pawn. But it's not easy to organize because you've got your bishop c5 defending the d4 pawn.
Yes, she's one of the Van Foreest family, the younger sister of Jordan and I knew it just a moment ago.
Lucas. Yes, I think b takes c4, b takes c4. I think white's doing quite well here. Maybe even extremely well. Oh, trying to think whether there's a good way to organize yourself. But I think that rook b8, rook b3, that stands a chance of being pretty good, I think. The resulting endgame here. I mean, you go king e2. Your pass pawns are quick anyway. You know, it's. I think, yeah. I mean, I think white's got the chances in this ending. Something went a bit wrong for black. I think probably exchanging off queens wasn't the best idea, maybe. Yeah. To start with, because you were quite active with your queen and bishop combining, you know, and swapping off the queens really takes, yeah, you know, really takes a source of problems for white away. And then, you know, this bishop on c5 is just really passive. Okay, rook d6 has been played.
Rook d6 is played here, yeah.
But that's cleverer. It's much cleverer than what I was suggesting. So the idea of there is that you're coming to A6. That's a very nice idea.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
That's a very nice idea. Yeah, that's very good. So that is nice, actually. That's really good. Because it might actually be a bit of a problem for... because if you have to defend your pawn from A2 when the rook comes to A6, and the rook comes to A3, and it's not going to be easy to do very much. Very nice, very nice.
Very by Eugenia, well done.
Very well done. Yeah, no, that's really good. That really that fits in very well. I don't know. I really don't know, actually.
Okay.
Good resource.
Yes. All right. We will keep going. We're going to see Hannah against Carmen.
Ooh, okay, this is looking a bit ugly. So we saw it after G5.
Here, yes.
So this was the big question was whether or not you'd gambled your house on the.
I didn't gamble. I didn't gamble. I would have lost my house had I done that. So I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, that scenario was running through your head all of a sudden. But G5 was really nasty. Black played it very quickly, and yeah, White's just in huge trouble. He just couldn't allow F4, I guess. And now that it's come, so Black decided to go for the for the big center.
Oh, and another pawn in there as well. All of them, 5 pawns coming up the king's side.
Real Space Invader chess, this. So G4 played, and actually, Black decided to sacrifice a pawn. Not bad. Knight B3 played. Finally, White's threatening B5 here when the knight on C6 doesn't have any particularly good square. But Black played E3 here, which is very nice, and then E4.
These pawns.
Bishop E5, Knight E5, takes, Knight D4. Well, if there's any justice in the world, then this should just be. This is utterly and completely winning for Black.
You could play Rook takes Knight and Knight F3, couldn't you?
Yeah, but that's just liquidating.
I've
made some good pieces for some not very good pieces, really. I mean, Knight D3 check is quite an idea. So, I mean, if you go King E2, I could go F3 check, and then King H1, King F1 rather, and then I mean, Black just can't. You just can't move there, really. You start fancying stuff like Bishop D8 to C7 or Bishop F6 to E5 just to hit that one, and then if the pawn moves, and I go, I can go Bishop G3 or something. I mean, it looks really, really very, very, very ugly indeed. Don't know whether I would have thought there might be something clearer, but it's not. I can't. It's not completely obvious. I mean, what you could also do is instead of putting the knight on D3, to put it on C4. So which is also a gorgeous square for the knight, and of course really restricts that dark squared bishop. That could also be good before or after F3. Actually, I'm not quite sure whether I might want to play F3 first and then go knight C4 after.
Yeah, because you're threatening a 4, can't you? Once you play F3. So say you do F3 straight away.
Yeah, I mean, you probably have to go King F1 anyway, maybe, just to avoid that F2. And then afterwards I could go knight C4. And that's quite I mean, that looks very unpleasant. I mean, white can go king f2, you know, but then I probably do my same thing again. I just go bishop d8 or something. And I just want to go bishop c7 and attack h2. And if you go h3, I go bishop g3 check and chase your king back. So feels like, you know, you're on the way ready to complete, you know, domination really. But never, yeah, you know, white's got some sort of Maginot line there. So it's, you know, not easy to put it away completely, but still. Should be...
Okay, we've got another move though. We have bishop f6.
Bishop f6. So, yeah, I mean, black's probably... Well, yeah, I mean, a very flexible move. You know, it can... you can go pretty much in any direction with that. So, yeah, I mean, that's probably a very good move as well. Just, you know, you could go knight d3, you could play f3, you could do all of your stuff still. But maybe you're going to be one move, for, you know, you already have the bishop on f6 ready to move to e5. So,
Yeah.
it's a
hard work for Hannah to defend.
Yeah, it's hard work for white, yeah.
All right. Okay, so we know Yan Lao had a draw, and she's now won that tournament. Olivia and Madara. So this is back at the ECF Invitational.
Yeah.
Okay.
So c5 was played, indeed, as we suggested.
Yep.
Knight c4, knight d7.
c5 box. Knight c4, knight d7, knight e3.
And knight e3. So white played quite skillfully with the old knight-aroonies. I mean, you might have... You could consider knight f6 here. I'm not sure. I was wondering all of a sudden whether knight d5 would be interesting. Takes. Then you're attacking the pawn on e5. So I go f6 box, and maybe d4. But I don't know how strong that is really. I mean, I can just take it. Knight takes d4. And then go bishop d7, and I don't know whether anything horrific's happening to me.
Knight in check.
Probably it's probably all right, isn't it, for black? I can go f4, but then I go queen d6 or rook c8 or something. Maybe rook c8 to try and get in queen c5. I must be all right, I would have thought. I'm not 100% sure about it, but you know, that's I've seen worse anyway. So I don't know whether knight f6 would have been an idea, but black played b6 instead, which is should also be very sensible.
Knight there and b6.
Yep. So knight d5 played, queen d6, and then knight d2, which is quite nice. I mean, white's playing knight c4 and might even have f4 as well afterwards. So, and here, this was probably a tactical mistake. I mean, you could play bishop a6 if you're particularly keen, just to stop knight c4 with bishop takes c4.
Yeah. Yeah, we were looking at that earlier, weren't we, that kind of idea?
Yeah, it's just that I think probably after knight c4, you take back with a d pawn. And then the very big question here is whether black can get a knight to d4. Because if you go knight b8, I go rook d1. And then knight c6, I've got knight b6.
Yeah.
And I mean, knight d4, yeah. I mean, I've got knight d4, knight a8, knight e2 check, but that's nothing, that's just random, really. I just take it and you take on d1 and then rook e1, and that's just winning, of course. So, so the other party could take his knight f8 instead of knight b8.
Yeah.
That's on move 21. I could go knight f8. So if rook d1, I go knight e6 again, but then I've got knight f6 in this position. And then knight d4 and knight e8, rook e8. And well, it's a big knight. It's a big knight, of course, you know. But yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, black's fighting for the draw here.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, you wouldn't go for this unless you really thought you had nothing better, really nothing better. But knight d2 is a nice move. But black actually looks like black blundered a pawn there. Because black although
b5, right?
That's maybe being a bit harsh, actually. b5 was played.
Yeah.
And white played the sneaky move. And I'm not sure whether it's the best one or not. It certainly does win a sneaky award. Queen a5, hitting b5 and also threatening knight c7.
Yep.
So that definitely wins the Sylvester Sneakley Award for sneaky behavior. Sylvester Sneakley. You remember that cartoon? It was from...
No, for pit stop.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. He was the evil uncle, wasn't he, Sylvester Sneakley?
Oh, that was Sylvester Sneakley.
He was also the evil claw, I think. That's
the hooded claw.
So queen b5 was played, hitting the rook on e8. But now black plays bishop d7, I guess. And I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering exactly how this works. So yeah, queen b3 is box. And then the question is, I mean, I'm going to get double pawns on the d file. I was sort of wondering whether whether they were still going to be holdable, but probably actually they're quite awkward because the c5 pawn is going to be weak as well. And if you go knight d5, I might even go queen d5 and then just leave you with that weak pawn on c5, and then you'll be hard pressed to win my d pawn before I win your c pawn. So I think this is just a real pawn. I think yeah, I think white's doing very, very well here. I think Olivia's doing really well here. So wow. Oh, wait a minute. Oh no, that's not true. Yeah, bishop e6. We've got knight c4. Sorry. Oh, so slow today. Bishop e6. I've got knight c4 here. And bishop d5. I've got knight takes d6. Bishop b3. I've got knight takes c8, for example. Is
check.
I suppose double winning. So yeah, that would be that's going to be good. So
yeah. Okay, so we're up to, I think this is the live position.
Yeah, so this is looking basically very good for white, because white's threatened to go knight c4. That's the point. And then you'll have to go knight c4, and I'll go d takes c4, and then completely cemented on the d5 square.
Yeah.
Which I think, is just really going to be good. Going to be good. I mean, there are some tricks after I go. Oh, why is nothing ever easy? If I go rook d8, maybe. I was just thinking, because knight c4, I could take it. Take and go rook b8. That was just what suddenly occurred to me. Okay. Now I was thinking d takes c4 to cement it. Because here I could go bishop e6, you see. Queen c4, I go bishop e6 and pin the knight to the queen.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go stuff like queen c3, that's possible. But then I'd take on d5, e takes d5, and I go f6.
Yep. And that one is going to drop.
So I think that's a little bit annoying, but I want to go d takes c4, not queen takes c4.
Yeah.
But then you go rook b8. And you're annoyingly hitting my pawn on b2. I mean, I go queen a5, and then rook b2. And I guess queen a7.
Oh, Shogi Hoba, thank you for the raid. Thank you, Carolina.
Oh, my goodness.
Hope you had a good stream.
And here I drop the bishop that I've got in my hand on e7. And
Hi, Shogi Harbour. Thank you so much. Hi, Shogi by Mifia. We had a great one. That's good. Thank you. Thanks, Shogi by Mifia, for the follow. It's chess. Yeah, it's chess now. It's Carolina, you'd be interested in this. It's a women's international master tournament. So all women playing. We've got two all women, all play alls going on, and they are happening. Hi, Jen. They're happening in the Mind Sports Centre, which is where we held our shogi tournament. Yes, so we've got, and there haven't been like non-tournaments like this in England for nearly 10 years. So it's lovely to see. How many years do you need to train to get to this level? Lots and lots. Still waiting for shogi tournament photos. Okay, I need to upload them. I will do that. I will certainly do that. Yeah, got lots of photos actually. So what's the youngest player is probably about 14 years old, I think, in this tournament. But most of these players have been playing, 20 years or whatever, maybe more, some of them. Right, Matthew. Which one's the king and which one's the queen? Well, that we do know. This one's the king and this one's the queen, because you don't have a queen in shogi, of course.
Yeah, Black's played bishop d7 in this game, but I'm not sure. I'm wondering whether there might have been something better than that. Maybe bishop e6 instead would have been cleverer. I don't know. Could have been. Because the idea, yeah. But anyway, here we're going to go queen b3, I think, then I think white's just is really a pawn up basically, there's all sorts of ideas to try and get it back, but I don't think you're going to manage. So looking very good for white, this one.
Yeah. So Olivia, I think she's the only Welsh player in the tournament. So looking good.
Fantastic.
Yep. Okay. And let's move on to Yao against Elżbieta. So we saw this, we were liking this a lot for white. White had this tactic with knights.
Okay, yeah. So h5 was played. Queen e1 was played by Yao, which is great because that was the move.
h5. Queen e1, that was the move you wanted. Yes. Yeah.
And here I think Elżbieta decided to go all in with knight g4.
Hi, Pokeram. Knight g4. Oh gosh.
So, yeah, this is one of those weird ones, really, because is h takes g4 really dangerous? That is the question.
Okay, so we've got an open h4. But
yeah,
what can Black do here?
It's a bit slow, really. That's the thing. So, but I can imagine that you'd feel that it's maybe a little bit dangerous. So what Yao did was play knight takes c5 instead. She didn't open.
But she didn't take that h pawn. Yeah, I had to take that knight. So she took here.
Knight takes c5, and Black's thinking about this now. You're threatening knight takes c6 with a sort of double fork, so that's generally going to be quite good.
Get my arrows right.
Drunken knight. So I think what Black will do is Black must take on e3 here, I think.
Okay, so let's look at knight e3. Queen takes.
And then queen takes. And now I'm sort of wondering, what can Black do? Black should have something.
e5, right? That's what she wants.
Well, no, but knight e6 is a huge threat here.
Yeah.
We need some devilry. That's what we need. Not clear, really. Obviously, I'm a tiny bit nervous with the dark squares, but I can't yet see a good way to exploit that. Bishop e5, aiming for d4 feels like really tempting, but
right.
You could play a move even like c3. Knight takes c6 covers d4, right? So you know, but maybe there's some tactics. But c3 threatening d4 would be just a solid and yeah, very cool way to do things. So, I mean, after queen e3, what we could do is Chris Baker's queen b6 here. I mean, that would be an idea. Not here, but a move before.
Sorry.
Por favor. So queen b6. And here you have to decide what you're going to do, because that pin's a little bit irritating. I mean, d4 feels like a move, like a decent move, but I do wonder whether, you know, you could just take on c5 and then take on b2 and claim that you've wrecked the white position, and that at some stage you might even have a queen d4 or whatever. I'm not 100% sure about how good this is. I mean, you could go rook. It's a difficult one. I mean, I could go rook b1. You know, the idea would be if you went queen d4 in this position, you know, just for argument's sake, I'd take it, take on e6, and then go rook f7, which might be quite irritating. This
looks nice for white.
Yeah, this is probably winning for white. So that would be fine. But I mean, there's all sorts of other stuff as well. I mean, maybe instead of rook b1, maybe I should take on e6 first. Let's just do it like that. Take on e6 first and then go rook b1. I mean, the annoying thing in this position is something like queen c2. You know, just sort of hanging on to the rook's coattails and then, you know, not allowing you to play rook f7, basically. And I don't know whether this one, whether we're gonna. Is this one going to be? Are we going to find something? I'm not sure. Because rook b6, for example, or something like that, I go rook hf8, and we're dealing with all the threats. So probably d4. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to play d4, but I do have the feeling that it's not the move. Oh my goodness! But black hasn't even. Black hasn't done that. Black hasn't done that.
Did go g5. What? This is what I suggested, but maybe it's not any good.
Okay. Well, let's have a look. What's happening? Knight takes c6.
So, knight takes e6.
F takes c6.
Just so, knight, right?
Well, yeah, that's the
okay. So what's gonna?
No. I mean, knight e6, bishop h2 is harmless, which is what I was thinking before.
So knight e6.
Yeah, because I mean, if you go bishop h2, king h1, for example, and then
bishop there.
Well, no, your queen's hanging.
That makes a difference.
Queen c7 is hanging. I mean, if I go, you know, I could. Sorry, I could go. It's starting to get a little bit tired. Actually, it's quite a long stream. So I'm going to start speaking in funny voices now. And what I'm really upset about, actually, let me just say this, is that whenever Audrey plays online, I always sing the theme tune of Godzilla. With the words Gigantobear in it, because she's Gigantobear on internet. But the draw was over so fast, I never got the chance to do that. So,
well, why don't you? Why don't you now? Let's
no. I've lost all the mood for singing now. So it's really.
So because Danny was singing on his stream earlier this morning. He was singing. What was he singing? Maria. He was singing.
Oh, okay. But anyway, let's get back to the chess, because that's what we're here for. So, yeah, I mean, something like queen e5 would be, you know, vaguely what you'd think of, I suppose, with the idea of knight takes d8, and then you'd like to move your bishop out of the way and mate on h2. But if you go bishop g1, then I go bishop takes g1, which is rather self-defeating. And I can't really think of any other way in which you'd get any. No. Oh no! Wait a minute. If you go something like bishop g3, you know, that would be vaguely possible. That if queen e2, then I could go bishop f2. That would be vaguely possible. But I think after bishop g3, I'm going to throw in a knight f7.
Danny says instead of bishop h2 doesn't she intend queen 7? Let's go back.
Yeah. That's the one, Danny. But we're just sort of showing this one first.
Okay.
But you're right. You're absolutely right. That's the most dangerous one. So Yeah, so but you could throw in knight f7 after bishop g3, and probably that'll just end up being good because I can take no
No, that doesn't work.
No, before after
Here.
bishop g3, I go knight f7. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know where you put your queen, because if you put your queen to c7, I take on h8.
Yeah.
And then bishop e1, I go rook f8 check.
Oh, ouch.
And if you go bishop f2 instead of bishop e1, there must be multiple ways of doing it, but h takes g4 is quite strong.
Yeah. Okay, so this all doesn't work.
There is a stronger idea, which Danny points out, which is to go queen e7 instead of bishop
here.
8.
No, yeah, here, queen e7.
E7, with the idea of knight to d8, and then you're going to go queen e5.
Aha. Swapping the queen and bishop round to try and do
it. The question is, what is this? Because I could just go g3, for example. You know, I mean, that's... And I'm threatening knight f7.
Yeah.
So I'm just not really sure. I mean, I can go knight e3 here.
Knight e3.
But then I go knight f7. No. Queen e3, there's bishop c5.
Okay.
You might as well show that. But queen e3, there's bishop c5. But indeed, as you showed correctly, knight f7 is the move that I'm worried about.
So let's go back to there. No, not back to there. Back to there.
Yeah, knight f7 is what I'm worried about. And you're going to get knight d6 in with check. That's the huge annoyance. And then afterwards, I can just take on e3.
Yeah.
So yeah. And if you
take on c,
yeah. Obviously, queen g3, I just take on h8. So
yeah.
I don't actually know how you're going to save this. This looks to me like it's just winning, to be honest.
Okay, so this could actually happen, right? Oh, they've played.
Oh, 96 has been played. We're waiting now. After 96, we're waiting for black's move. So 96, 17.
This is the actual position.
Not
that one.
Well, yeah, well, that one.
This one.
Yeah, that's one. So we're waiting for black's move, whether it's going to be queen e7 or whether it's going to be queen e7 played. So I think knight d8 works, unless I'm missing something absolutely horrific.
So knight d8 works for white.
Yeah, because I mean, you could try knight takes e3 just to reverse it. Because after queen e3, queen e5, for example, would be your devilish idea. Only you're not even threatening mate at all. You know, I mean, queen h2 is not mate anymore. So
right.
You know,
so this one's trying to get this one in.
Yeah, but I mean, I just go knight f7, and there's this. It's not mate. You know, so. Yeah. Queen h2 check, I go king f2, so you know I've escaped there. So
then we can go here.
Yeah, but you're a rook down. I go king e2 or something, you know, and
yeah,
this is. I mean, there's probably a better way of playing it with white, but you know, I mean, it's just going to be winning somehow.
Yeah.
So I do think that this doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work. I think queen e7, knight d8.
Here. Is that too bad?
Yeah, but. Even if I took on f4 and then when queen g1 or something, for example, I'm still.
Oh, you still loads up.
I'm still loads up.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
So I think queen e7. I think it's just a case of you grab all the material you can and just go knight takes d8 here. And I don't know whether Danny's can think of something else, but it just seems to me to be completely winning for white.
Okay, so quite a complicated position. Yayo's only got 20 minutes left.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's quite going to take going to take some nerves to do that, because obviously it's easy doing it when you're playing with the pieces like us, but yeah. obviously during the game, always tricky.
All right, let's see how Canwell and Sarah got on. So we left it with Canwell having 3 pawns and Sarah a piece, and it was looking good for black.
So is it black to play here? I mean, I guess knight g2 here would be reasonably strong.
So knight g2 takes.
Bishop g2, rook, and then rook g8 simply.
Rook g8. Simple as that.
Simplicity by Matthew Sadler. Yes. So I mean, that's easy. There might be better. I mean, that's just the first thing that that I saw. But
so then it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'd be like 2 pawns for a piece.
Wait, yeah, queen and bishop for 2 rooks. But the white king's quite weak, so you know, f4 comes in, bishop g6, and all that. I would have thought this would just be really good for
black.
For black.
Yes. This has happened, so it's this position now. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So rook g8 is going to come in. Just must watch out because bishop h5 it looks vaguely tempting. Not very tempting though. So got to watch out.
Wouldn't you just like once you've done that rook, you'd put the queen there as well and just
could do. Depends what white does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you can play queen g6 as well, then no, excellent. But maybe I don't know. Maybe you go. Maybe after rook g8, yeah, it's been played. Maybe you go king h1 or something, and then
h1.
You know, you're threatening rook g1. But I'm not sure. I mean, it wouldn't amaze me if you said, "Oh, the engine says that."
So you say you do this now?
Yeah, I could go rook g1 then.
Rook g1, yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah.
But there are a few things that are reasonably tempting. I mean, I could, you know, f4 is quite tempting. Maybe. No, not here.
Not here before.
f4.
Right here.
Because I'm threatening bishop h5. And you know, the idea simply would be to get the capture on g2 in the very, very best circumstances. You know, that's the idea. So, and if after, for example, if you played rook e5, then I can take on g2 maybe. And then if you take the rook, for example, then I take it and then I throw in an f3 check or something quickly. You know, and that might just be. I'm not sure, but it might just be way better than with the pawn f5, you know. But okay, you know, it's all. So looking very good for Sarah.
Good for Sarah. Okay. Fine. That one was a draw. And back to the she plays to win.
Okay, so this has turned out pretty nicely for black. Oh yeah, that was the other move. So after queen d2, that was on move 20.
Yeah.
Play the other move I mentioned, which was so not d5 but queen b4.
Yeah.
And this is getting a little bit tricky for white to defend that pawn on b3. And actually, white didn't even try. White just gave it up and took off, and then played queen b3, queen d6. And bishop a4. Oh, that was brave. Takes. Was there nothing better? Maybe not. c5, queen a3, king g2. And obviously this is very pleasant for black.
The black's not pawn up, and the c pawn's may be weak as well. Yeah,
b pawn's a bit weak as well, but the fact that the white king, that the second rank is open, that the white pawn's on f3 and g3 like that, that's actually quite nice for black. It just means that any, you know, sort of with these heavy piece endgames, if you get a rook onto the 7th, then it's curtains basically. So difficult to say what black should do. I mean, a move like h5 is not so stupid, just to give yourself some squares, because you might well you can, and then you're just going to play something like rook c6 maybe, and then just line up on this c pawn. You could play a move like rook c6 immediately, but I just have the feeling that you can probably just wait.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you go play a move like queen e7, for example, here with white, just imagine after h5, yeah. So queen e7. Then I've actually got b6 in this position.
Yeah, because this one.
Well, there's the pin on the c5.
Pins all over the place.
Yeah. So so actually, that's quite an idea. So I think this is going to be winning. I think if the pawn's on f2, I'd be wondering a little bit. But with the pawn on f3, I just have the feeling that Black's going to have checks and tactics. And that something's going to work out there. So looking very good for
Daria
of the Dove's House.
Oh yes. All right, Zoe and Louise. Okay.
Wow. Okay. So what happened?
So Zoe did the c3.
Yeah, and took on e4 here, and went queen c6. I was thinking knight f6 maybe, but queen c6 played.
Oh yeah, knight f6. Yeah.
I thought that was quite good, but knight ef4. Ooh, okay. Ooh, this is getting sharp now. Oh God, took on d4 now and e5. Well, that's really going for the max. That's going for the absolute max here. So basically, trying to get white to play d takes c5 and give black a nice central square.
Yeah.
But obviously, white's pieces are getting hugely active here. So knight d5 played, and then no taking on d4 here.
No.
Wonder taking on d4, was that bad?
Knight h. Danny says knight h5 was good here.
Knight h5, but yeah,
that's knight d5. So here.
Okay. Are you going bishop h6? I guess if he takes d4, you're going bishop h6. Is that the idea?
Oh, and Elżbieta's now winning. Gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I think e takes d4, bishop h6 was the idea here, which is actually rather
clever. Clever. Because so what? If you take, you can't defend this mate at all.
No, bishop f6, but I got rook f6 then, so you lose a lot of a lot of boys.
Clever. Not your idea. Oh, Danny, I thought you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, after bishop h6, there is bishop f6, which is possible. I'm not sure, but I just you sort of feel that.
Rook takes f6 still.
Yeah, knight takes f6, and then I'll go knight takes g7 maybe. That looks quite useful. Not 100% sure. I mean, e4 is weak, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, what the hell? It's worth it. It's certainly danger, but knight h5 does look like a nice move, must be said. What are you saying about Elżbieta actually?
Elżbieta, so it was Yo-Yo, isn't it, against Elżbieta?
Oh, good lord! Let's have a look. There's been a bit of a turnaround.
Quickly.
No, that's all good. Oh, knight g.
This one here.
Oh, she took on g5 instead of taking the rook. But is this so bad? Because oh God, queen e3, there's bishop c5 straight away. Because the rook's still on d8, so you're covering d4. Oh no. Oh, that's a shame. Well gambled, Elżbieta, of course, but that's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, taking a rook. Always take the big guys. That's I think White definitely had the idea because the knight was coming back to f3. That was the idea. So I think she was expecting queen e3, queen e5, and then knight f3. But of course, queen e3, bishop c5 is the key. Is the big one. So hard luck, Yao. That's just so well played up till then, and then just that last move. Okay. So let's go back to Zoe against Louise. So knight d5 was played, bishop h4 was played, attacking the rook. Again, Louise really going for maximum everything. So rook c1, queen d6, bishop c4. That feels like a good move. There could be others, but bishop c4 feels like a good move. And now it's black's move, and we've got to decide what on earth are we going to do here. So, yeah, on the one hand, I sort of feel that black's quite solid, and on the other hand, I'm slightly nervous that anything I play is going to lose something. But I suppose, you know, if you were really going to just play the moves that you wanted to play, then you just take on d4 here.
Pawn takes here.
Yeah, and after bishop d4, you play knight d e5. And yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things there, really. So, I mean, that would be certainly that would be your blitz reaction, you know, where you sort of say, okay, I get that square. I mean, you might have moves like, you know, could prepare it a bit more with king h8, maybe that might be possible. Instead of going e takes d4. I'm not sure, but I'm just trying to think, you know, just to start with what would be wrong. That might be possible, you know, just to get the king out of the line, and then just or you could think of moves like rook c8 or rook d8. I suppose that's probably what I'm trying to say here, is that I'm not very clear about what white's threat is, and I'm not sure how urgent you know I have to be in what I do. I mean, g3 could be an idea for white. That's the most obvious one. Just hitting the bishop and, you know, maybe forcing it back, you know, to d8 or something like that, which might cause some more possibilities. It is weakening some squares, though, you know, and it's not the ideal move, g3. I mean, I don't know whether knight g5 would be a dangerous idea. Maybe, you know, just you know, just making some threats against f7. So let's have a look. E takes d4. Let's just have a look at that. Bishop takes d4 and knight d e5. Has that even been... No, it hasn't been played yet. So do I have a real threat here? Well, I suppose I could claim that I'm threatening to take on c4 and take on d5 simply.
Oh, knight c7.
Knight c7.
Here. Knight c7 is Bagatelle.
But couldn't I
I see. If you take... No, that doesn't...
Yeah, but well, it does, but I just get a lot of pieces for it. So I just take on c7, for example. I could maybe ignore it, but if I just take it and then take with the queen, maybe. Chopperoonie, and I've got rook and 2 pieces for the
knight.
Knight or rook, even. I don't know. Cover the 7th rank.
Yeah.
Then yeah, black should be doing very well here.
Bishop a2, Danny says.
Bishop a2, yeah, that feels like the move.
Okay, so from here, yeah.
Bishop a2. Yeah, you just get the bishop out of attack, and so I do have to confess to having had a little glance at knight g4, but because you know, knight g4 is g3 and bishop g3, but it's not. Yeah, you've got queen g2 to cover, so it's not really it's not anything remarkable. But just
so here,
yeah, and if bishop takes, I just take it back, queen g3, queen g2. So that's a little bit annoying. Louise actually quite short of time. Actually, Louise has played rook.
Yeah.
Louise has played rook ad8.
Okay.
Rook ad8. That one worries me a little bit because it's taking away the d8 square from the bishop. So I'm just sort of thinking.
Right. So g3.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you played g3 now, for example. I mean, also, yeah. Also, if I go knight g5 and you go bishop g5, I'm hitting a rook as well. So, but I'm not sure. If I were to go, Because if I go bishop e7, for example, let's just start with quiet moves. But I could take on e7, for example, and then play d4 to d5 after. So I guess knight takes c7. Ooh, actually, even rook f7, knight g5 is feeling vaguely tempting. I don't know whether that's good or not.
Interesting.
It's not stupid. I've seen worse. That is quite dangerous because, yeah, rook f8. I will go rook f1.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, can block with with bishop d5. Or would bishop d5 be clever in this position?
The bishop d5 here.
Yeah. Maybe I should take on f7. I should take on f7 first, I think. Sorry, and
so hit it with the knight.
Yeah, I'd take on f7 first and then go rook f1. The idea is that knight f6, I go d takes c5. That's the big idea always. So
d takes c5 here.
Yeah, and queen e5. There's queen d8. Well, yeah, queen d2. I just take back, and you're multiple pinned.
Yeah.
And queen e5. I've got queen d8. So that would be that's quite nasty. So there's more than a little bit of danger there. I just wonder if I went g3, whether you could throw in something like e takes d4 in the middle. I don't know.
So g3 here, you mean?
Yeah, and then e takes d4. I don't know whether that would help.
Takes.
Yeah, takes, and then I guess I'm going to go bishop e7 here.
Bishop e7.
I just try to claim basically that I've still got my, I've still given you that weakness on e5. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe it's. I would believe.
Yeah.
I would believe that anyone.
Bishop f6, which I.
Yeah, bishop f6 is possible as well without e takes d4. It's possible as well. It looks really ugly though, but you might be right. I had thought about it, but I just. This is a complex position, actually. That is just really that is just the idea is that knight f6 is better because the knight's attacking e4. That's the basic idea. It's just that the pieces starting to look really odd with the queen on d6, bishop on f6, knight on d7, and I just have the feeling that somewhere there might be a refutation, but it's not. It's hardly clear. Maybe I go knight g5 here. I don't know. Punt that.
Yeah.
Doesn't look, but yeah. It's one of those positions, where, pardon me, the neither whites nor blacks pieces are completely normal somehow, and it's you sort of think, looking at white's position, you sort of think, oh well, this must be white should have something clear, but I can't see it, and then black's position looks a bit odd, and I'm thinking, well, maybe something like that can be exploited, but it's just not really clear. I don't know. Maybe instead of g3, maybe let's have a look whether we've got a better idea. I mean, maybe just something like rook f5 or something. Just who knows? Preparing rook h5, rook f1. Just get the rooks in. Get the rooks in and let black worry about it.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I mean, also you could also just say a move like Danny's bishop a2 simply could also be possible. Just bishop a2. So just get the bishop out of the way, and then wait to see what black's going to do.
See what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because you could go ed, bishop d4, knight d5, but then bring the bishop out of the way has been quite useful. And then then we'll just try and work out what we do. Maybe a knight f4 or something. I don't know. Yeah, knight f4 or bishop g5 might be irritating. Who knows? Yeah. Well, the bishop g5 isn't actually. If bishop g5, I can go knight takes g6 probably. And bishop d2, I've got knight de7.
Ooh, that's nice.
Ooh, we need a sound effect for that to keep
Oh
us
yes,
awake.
we do. Let me.
Yeah, or even the gasp, I think, Natasha. Exactly, that's way better. We really need that more often during our analysis. Yeah, right. That's really only if Zoom meetings, if you're if somebody falls asleep or something, you know, that you have to.
But this would be nice, wouldn't it? Knight e7.
Yeah, no, it's a nice one. It's a nice one. But I think maybe bishop a2 would be a very sensible move. I mean, if you can't, you know, think of because all the other moves, you sort of wonder, is that going to, you know, are my pieces going to be awkward in some way later? You know, whereas bishop a2 just gets it out of the way of attack, and well, also opens the c file as well. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know.
And then Louise has to think of new ideas, doesn't she?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's also, you know, these passing moves are quite nice sometimes. You know, that you just. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, this is a really complicated position. So I mean, it could be after knight bishop a2 is what is, well, black could maybe try e takes d4 and then knight f6. It feels weird, but
Then g3. Maybe.
Yeah, I've got knight takes c4 coming in. I'm a little bit confused as to what's happening here. Because the idea is that if you go bishop f6 in this position, I go bishop takes f6, and if knight takes f6, well, I was thinking queen f6 in this position.
Yeah.
And then if rook f6, then rook d2. And unfortunately, rook takes f7, rook f7, rook c7 fails to rook d1 check.
Oh no, that's
so
mate.
Yeah, I mean, what you could do is you could take on f7 simply. So I mean, instead of rook c7.
So here.
Yeah, I could take on f7.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And go rook c7. But I imagine that, you know, black's doing quite nicely here, actually. King f6, rook c7, and maybe just knight h4. I mean, actually, black might even be just, you know, clearly better because pieces are so active. Knight f4. I go g5 or something. I don't know. Yeah. Knight d5, king e5. Well, I'm not going to be, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be very dangerous, you know.
Yeah.
Or nothing at all. Who knows? But I mean, it's you know, black's got lots of ways of playing well.
She played queen e2.
Queen
we
e2.
Didn't think about that one, did we?
We thought of many things, but queen e2 here.
Looks like it.
Okay, queen e2 played. Yes, sorry.
Queen e2.
Okay, yeah, not bad. Looking for h5. That's quite a good square for the queen.
Yeah. So she's just doing a quiet move to let Louise think about it.
Yeah, a different quiet move, but a sort of a quiet move indeed. Oh. Sorry, I'm there.
Say when you want to stop.
Well, maybe just another 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, seem to spend most of my life yawning at the moment, so it's just we'll just give it another 10 minutes. Just have a little look how this one's. Should we do a little tour through the rest of the game still going?
Let's do that. Okay. So Ellen against Lara. It was looking good for Lara, I think, before.
Still looking very, very good there.
Good. Okay. And we have Machtelt against Eugenia. Oh, it has won that one. Eugenia's only 13, I think, said Blue Grey
Okay.
Haze.
Played it very well, actually. So a little bit, a little bit unlucky there. But yeah, well played, and against a very strong opponent, of course, who's, well, won the tournament, I guess, now.
Yeah. Okay, Hannah against Carmen, and
yeah, well, we started off with big pawns,
oh,
charging
there were,
on
weren't there?
the king
There
side,
were.
and these are still very big pawns. They have not got any smaller, so I reckon f2 is just winning simply. So
yeah,
f2.
Good Celestia and Hannah very short on time as well.
F2 is game over.
Yeah. Okay, and then we saw that one already. This one, Olivia against Madara. Olivia has pushed up her A pawn.
Yeah. Wondering, yeah. It's always a decision, right? I mean, white's a pawn up, so how are you going to break through? And this is sort of weakening your own structure a little bit, whereas you had nice control. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, I can understand the idea, the reason for it. What you don't want to do with white is just let black sort of mobilize herself against the d3 pawn. You just don't want that. So white just going to take the a pawn and go after the c pawn. Yeah, worst case scenario, you lose your b pawn for it. But yeah, you're still then a pawn up. So it's probably a very good practical decision, actually. So slightly surprising to me, but no, I can understand it. I think it's a good one. So I guess that. Okay, yeah, this is just lost now.
Yeah, so this is going to be a win for black.
A
we
win
think
for black, yeah.
Although it was looking very good for white. Earlier, we needed white to take the rook on d8, I think.
Yeah, which was winning, we thought.
Yes, complicated, but it was
complicated but winning. Yeah, so big turnaround there. But yeah, hard luck white. Well gambled black. I mean, that's what can you say?
Hi, Bunny. How are you doing?
So this looks completely winning.
Okay, Sarah did manage to get these 3 major pieces lined up against that bishop.
Yeah, good game from Sarah. This f5, queen f6, g5 was really dangerous, and yeah, yeah, very good attacking game there. Hard luck, Canwell.
Okay, Sheila's was a draw. We saw that.
Indeed. This one, yeah, this one we feel that this is just going to be
black's
a win for
probably going to win just because of the extra pawn and the weaker king.
Yeah.
Right. Zoe Louise. So we've had another move here, which is taking on d4, and Zoe's recaptured.
Yeah. That's yeah. So knight d5 is going to come in probably. Then I guess we're probably going to go bishop a2 against that.
Oh, yeah, so knight, sorry, this one.
Yeah, and then probably bishop a2. Maybe we should play something like, if we can, bishop c8 in this position. To try and cover those light squares and also threaten bishop g4, because now the queen's a little bit in the way of that.
Yeah.
But it's an extremely complicated position.
Complicated, isn't it? Yeah.
I keep on wondering about rook f5 here, actually. Just because after rook f5, if you take on f5, e takes f5, then that bishop, that knight on e5 has gone basically. So this looks quite strong. And I go rook f5, and if you go something like I don't know, rook f8 or something like that, just to prepare it, I go queen h5, and who knows?
Oh, another move. So here, after here.
Oh, bishop d5.
After there, we have bishop d5.
That's a surprise. Oh, okay, but maybe what you're aiming for is after bishop d5, you want to go either bishop f6 or knight f6. I'm just a bit worried because we got rook c6 coming in. That's what I'm worried about.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's nothing. I might be.
She wants. Danny thinks she wants 97.
97. Could be. But is that really legal?
Is it legal? Are you thinking taking on Bishop Queen G4 or something?
Well, yeah. This. I've got Queen H5 and Queen G4 for forking the bishop. So, of course, if I go Bishop G7, King G7, Queen G4, then the knight goes back to G6, which is really quite.
Can't do it that way around.
Really?
Queen G4 threatens mate. Yes, it does.
Yes, indeed. So yeah. I could go bishop. Yeah, I could go Bishop F6 though. That would be the ideal after Queen G4. That was what was worrying me, because I'm threatening the bishop on D5 and also covering this with a checky. Wow. I mean,
E5 takes. No.
It's not that knight on H3. The knight on H3 is a real. It's not the piece you want. Could we just go back? Not Queen G4 then. Knight E7.
Danny says computer says knight F6 after Bishop D5. But okay, but there's this one first.
Computer.
Oh, so you could take on, and you can't because of. Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at Rook F7 takes everything, and then Queen C4 check, but just seems doesn't seem like anything in particular. I could go.
Louise has played knight F6, by the way.
Okay, a better move apparently.
Better move. So this is where we are.
It does feel a bit more natural, to be honest. Just to leave the knight on G6, protecting everything, and. But I mean, Rook C6 was. I was vaguely wondering whether this was going to cause an accident, but I guess something like Queen E7, maybe Queen D7, Queen E7. I guess Rook C6, Queen E7, and there's nothing particular happening. I guess
there's all sorts happening.
Well,
but what? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm threatening.
You can't just drop the bishop back because she'll go knight D5.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to go G3, but I think knight D5 is simply, or Rook D5 even. Rook D5 probably is even stronger. It's just. So
you can't move this bishop either, because then this bishop's on freeze.
Yeah, that's a bit of a conundrum, actually. I mean,
so
maybe just
in trouble.
Maybe you have to go Bishop F6 and just claim that you're going to play on opposite coloured bishops, really, which is possible.
Yeah. So instead of Rook C6, or do we?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether we want to play Rook F6 or not. Rook C6. On the one hand, Rook C6 does chase the queen back, so it feels like a useful move.
Because there's not a pin. Yeah.
I mean, I could also go. No, I keep on dropping pieces. It's a bit tough, this one. Crumbs. I mean, Yeah, I was wondering about G3, but I go knight takes D5, E takes D5. But then I just go. I've got various. I can even drop the bishop back to E7. The problem is that there's, you've got things where you say you're trying to make the tactics work, but black also seems to have reasonable ways to. Bishop takes F6 was played actually.
We've had some moves yet. Takes, Queen H5, Queen E5. So what now? Rook F5.
Well, wait a minute. What's happening here, actually? What if we just... Okay, if we take on e5, knight takes e5, you'll be playing. And rook c7, you can go rook d7. I'm guessing. I go rook c1. Or maybe I just go a5 rather than rook d7. Maybe I'm just giving myself problems like that. Maybe I just go a5. But how is this? Feels a little bit better for white, actually, doesn't it, really? I'm going knight f4 afterwards.
Thanks for the thanks for subscribing, Bagatur. Thanks very much.
Thank you. It's I'm not sure. This feels queen takes c5 is simple, at least. You know, it's you're not sacking anything. You know, not having to. And it looks like a slight edge for white. So that's a practical option. I mean, there's not much time left. So on the other hand, you could gamble and you could go rook f5.
Queen e5, rook f5. That was the move that first sprang into my mind. Rook f5.
Yeah, it's just I'm just wondering queen b2.
Oh yeah.
I suppose rook cf1, I guess. Yeah. Who knows? I guess I go king h8 or something, and yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not quite sure where the yeah. I'm not quite sure where the win's coming from, really.
Well, you can do takes on f7 and then knight g5.
Ooh, wowsies. But I guess I would have just bishop takes g5 then.
Rook takes f7.
Yeah, it's two pieces for a rook.
Some
attack.
Okay.
Possible. Not ruling anything out. I mean, e5 is vaguely possible. Well, I do sort of wonder, what do I do after even knight takes e5? Do I have a real idea? It is not. I don't know.
Very complicated.
This is when you just punt, basically. You've got dangerous threats, but it's not really clear. Not really clear how those dangerous threats are working. It's it could be punted.
So,
I mean, Zoe's got.
This is where we are, isn't? Oh no, that's not.
No.
This is where we are.
Yeah, so Zoe's down to. I mean, they're both down now to. Because I mean, Zoe had a big time advantage.
She did, but now she doesn't. So they're both. They both do get into time trouble, and they both are in time trouble.
So the world is.
She has taken, so it's normal. It's normal.
Yeah. Okay. So I suppose maybe. I mean, have you got bishop takes c5 here? That would be ideal if you could do that. Just really covering the c7.
She's played it, actually. She has played bishop take.
Oh, she's played it. Okay. Because I thought that knight g5 might be dangerous here, but I'm now all of a sudden I'm not 100% convinced about that. Because after knight g5, I think you could play
knight g5 played.
Okay. So what I was thinking of, and I don't think that works. I think you can go knight h8 simply. I think knight h8 here.
Knight h8.
And
that's not the sort of move you'd play, though, would it? With 3 minutes left.
Steinitz would whack it out.
Steinitz would play knight h8
instantly.
Bishop f4 is nasty, says Danny.
Is bishop f4 good?
Oh, instead of knight h8.
But are we going knight f7?
G5's a blunder.
Rook d5 curses. Yeah, well done, Danny. Yeah, knight f7. Yeah, bishop f4 is nasty. So not knight h8.
Where are we? I can't
now find knight g5. Knight g5.
Knight g5 happened.
Knight g5. Bishop f4 now. Yeah, sorry, I missed knight f7, rook d5. But still, if we go bishop f7, check.
Here.
Then I guess are we going? Because if rook f7, I go knight f7, right? And that's nothing at all. That's good. So I've got to go king h8, I think. That must be the el punto. But that can't be good. I just go knight e6, don't I?
So here, king h8.
Yeah, I go knight e6.
Knight e6.
And after bishop c1, I go rook c1. I'm not sure. Is that... That's fine for...
That's absolutely fine, isn't it? So what are we missing? Just rook moves. So rook...
Oh, rook c8 here. Rook c8. Curses.
Rook c8.
Curses. Curses and damnations. But still. So if I go, sorry, just go back. So if bishop f4 now, so yeah, knight f7, rook d5 is, but bishop f7, no, bishop f7.
Bishop f7, sorry.
Bishop f7. It's been a long day. So king h8. Bishop takes g6.
G5? Oh, this bishop, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. But I guess that it's almost too. I almost can't be bothered really to work it out. But I mean, I guess that you could even throwing in a bishop e3 check will be a bit irritating because you know, after king h1, after you go bishop takes c1, I'm not quite sure in which move order to do it, but you'll be, you know, you'll have a big threat on the back rank somehow.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I can go something like knight f. This could be quite nasty, actually. Knight f7.
Knight f7, don't you?
Yeah, but then king g8,
Oh.
rook c1, and then rook c8 again.
Yeah, she's actually done something different.
Oh, and bishop f6.
She hasn't done bishop f4. So here, she neither played the Steinitzian knight h8,
bishop f6,
nor the computer suggestion or Danny's suggestion bishop f4, but she actually played bishop f6.
Okay, that's not bad either, I think. I mean, I can go knight f7, rook f7, and then the big shame is that I can't go rook c7 because of rook takes d5. Well, I could go rook c8 check, but then you go rook d8, so that's extremely sad.
Given everything.
So I could take on f7, but I'm guessing this is nothing. And what I could do, I suppose, is just take and go rook c7 check.
So take here.
Yeah, but again, I mean, I go king e6, and after rook a7, I've got bishop takes b2, so not great.
Yeah.
Not winning anyway. But I wonder whether that might just be... Could decide what's sensible, really. You know what?
Do you have to go into this?
Well, she's got knight f3. So he's got knight f3. I'm wondering now about knight e7. That's what I was worried about. Unless... oh, maybe knight e7. Maybe we can go bishop takes f7. Well, knight f4. How about knight f4? Could that be
knight f4 here. We just move the bishop.
Knight f4 might be nasty. Because if bishop c4, we've got bishop b2. Which wins 2 pawns.
Oh, yeah. Curses and Damnations chessbook title.
Yes, no, that would be a great one. You know, you could really come up with some. At this stage, the black player said Curses and Damnation, but I think knight f4 is quite strong. Oh, but she's taken on b2 and rook c7 has happened.
Oh,
so
okay. So it was that takes here.
And rook c7 has happened. So
if she takes on a3, is there an f7?
Well, knight g5, you would have thought by now.
Yeah, that's 4 pieces on it, isn't it? Even Steinitz couldn't defend against 4.
If I had to guess, I'd say this must end as a draw somehow.
Louise, only 12 seconds left. She's on increment.
Golly. Until what move, actually? Is it until move 40?
It's all forever.
Oh, God.
They don't get any time, so she's going to be a nervous wreck afterwards.
So, knight f4 play, but it is a move too late, really. Got to watch out now, because knight g5 at some stage is going to hit the knight as well. So no, not right now, because there's knight b5. But I mean, if you just move the bishop back somewhere, like I guess b3, maybe b3, b3 or a2.
Back.
No, you got the knight on f3. Bishop a2 maybe, or bishop b3. I'm not sure which one. Then you could, you'll have knight g5.
Oh, she's put it on c4 actually.
C4, but haven't we got? Well, no, that's true. Because if rook c8, there's bishop f7, which
wins.
Well, no, it doesn't win. I mean,
just king h8.
Just king h8. But you go rook a7, and then you claim you've won a pawn.
Yeah.
But knight
e6.
That's pretty safe. But rook a7, I suppose.
Rook a7 you'd do, wouldn't you?
Or maybe you go rook a8 then. And
I'm sort of thinking rook f7.
Yeah, king f7.
Knight g5 check.
King e7.
Oh. That was as far as I got.
Yeah, no, I think black's just a little bit better here. Should we maybe? We've gone 3.5 hours on the trial.
Yeah.
We're looking a little bit tired.
Okay, let's wind up here.
But some great games actually. It's and I mean, really lovely to see these tournaments taking place. And you've been commentating apart from me with Peter Wells as well, haven't you?
I did a couple with Peter as well. Yes,
lovely.
Yes.
Yeah,
great. Thursday and Friday. Yeah, so there have been some very nice games, and Danny and Raylan have been doing the morning sessions as well. So lots of coverage of these events.
Brilliant. It's
great. Some great games. Thanks to everybody, and all credit to the organisers who've got these tournaments together. And thanks everyone for lots of messages in the chat. Thanks everyone very much for watching.
Thanks very much.
Thanks. Bye.